up, y'all? I say that, of course. I hear a lawnmower outside the moment I say that. What is up, y'all? And welcome to Theist Helpline, the show where we ask theists what they believe and why. And let's get into it. Boop, shooba, whoop, whoop, boop. I have to go like super quick into it. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit the like button. Thanks to all the Patrons, all the supporters, all the people out there, the viewers. I'll send love out to you, but unfortunately we're on Amy time and it is really just time to get in there. So I'll send love to everybody while we're going into it. But let me... Also share audio. I need to set it correctly. All right. Now that we're in here, I can start to talk. Okay. Yay.
Hey, Amy.
What is up, Taco?
Chilling. Get this thing to cancel. I made a change to the Theist Helpline thing, so I'm hoping that it works instead of just fizzling out, but I can't even delete the old one. That's weird.
That is weird.
There it goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got that canceled. All right, cool.
Sapping in, sending love in.
I'm just prepping real fast. I need just 1 minute, and then we can get started.
Oh, you're good.
You having a good day so far?
I am just happy to be streaming. I have been craving going on and just getting more back-to-back with theists.
Right.
It's been a very political climate lately. So very much looking forward to religion. You know, the easy topics.
I've been debating them every day, albeit not many of them.
Well, not only do I admire what you do, I swear, because I feel like I'm going cuckoo because I'm doing too much text chat, and I feel like what I need to do is just come home, go off of work, and just log on and do Discord debates, just like you do. Like, just do voice debates.
Or you can hop on my stream and do some debates on my stream and yell at some people on my stream.
Absolutely.
Or you can run your own stream, or there's people you can call in on.
Do you host 1v1s and 2v2s and all that stuff?
Yeah, the Mega Bloodbath.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you ever get somebody you want to debate or whatever, just let me know, and I host 1v1 and 2v2 Mega Bloodbaths.
That sounds fantastic to me.
Yeah, they're pretty great. The audience loves them. I just have a hard time finding theists for him. Do you know theists that would want to debate?
Well, here's the thing. And no offense to the apologists online, but, you know, if they don't tend to have a mute button or home base, yeah. So I wish I did.
Right. No mute button, no theist.
Especially if they're presuppositional. With sending so much love to everyone.
Hang on 1 second.
Oh, no, you're good. That means I can just send love to all of you out there. I hope your weekends are also doing well. Or if you're watching this later on a weekday, I hope your weekday's doing well. But we are Theist Helpline getting set up. I did have to run in here without doing much of an intro. But I'm just happy I was on time.
Please join us on this month's The Theist Helpline. Amy Newman and Taco are taking calls today related to God, supernatural, etc. We would love to see evidence for Bigfoot, ghosts, goblins, supernatural dinosaurs that fly around in spaceships, etc. That sound good?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Covers a lot of woo-woo. Ghosts, goblins. We don't get goblins a lot, but I'm not going to say we haven't gotten goblins. And so this is the timeline that we are
All right,
indeed
I started it. It's game time.
Woo-hoo. Good morning, BB.
Well, I do appreciate you joining me today. This is going to be a ton of fun. I think I'm live on YouTube now. So cool. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube now. So I just making sure everything's running, or double checking real fast, actually. But I do appreciate you joining me, and anybody in the audience, we appreciate you being here. We may swap to YouTube if we can't get people here on Discord today. I don't mind going straight to YouTube and trying to make something happen on YouTube, right? But we'd love to get some conversations going here today. If y'all in the audience would like to come up and converse about your God thing you believe in, feel free to raise your hand. We'll pull you up here. But over what's it been now, like 3 years, Amy, that we've been doing this?
Yeah,
Something
a few
like that?
years, and still no God in sight.
Yeah, and I think we're running out of theists to save at this point, as you can probably see in the audience today. But if any of y'all are theists, we'd love to have you up here, get you deconverted. It's pretty quick usually. Usually takes like 15, 20 minutes, although you might have more questions. Yeah, so Amy is a friend of mine. She's a comedian and a skeptic, and runs all sorts of conversations on her channel. In addition to that, she actually has ran a lot of debates on modern day debate over the years. Is there anything else you want to share about yourself there?
Just that, what is up, everyone? I am Amy Newman. I am a skeptic. We tend to be atheists, asking theists what they believe and why. We're really just here to help, and Taco, just glad to be here.
Oh, it's awesome to have you, and it's awesome to have everybody in the audience here. Yeah, and I run youtube.com/@realbreakfast. Tacos, as most of you on the server here know. It is a fun channel where we get people from the Discord oftentimes and do fun debates, right? And so we run a bunch of awesome debates on there and have a ton of fun. Now, I would love to bring up some theists. Get some deconversions going here. I am kind of hesitant to bring up somebody that's rank 1. I'm not gonna lie about that one. That's one of those scary things to do, right? I do see you tonelessly. Let me see here. Should I just yank him
Roll
up
the
here?
dice, that's okay. We might get meowing.
They said their mic is broke anyways and their hand is raised, so that's an interesting combo there. But if there's anybody in the audience that would like to come chat about their religious beliefs, we'd love to have you up on the panel. We'll pull you right up, ideally over rank 1, right? Just so that we can take a little bit less of a risk there. But with that being said, I mean, I've been doing a bunch of deconversions on my channel recently, right? I've been saving a lot of people. We're basically at this point just converting or deconverting people through osmosis.
Yeah, it's a shame. I wish their god could, come on down and at least say hi. I know many of them will say they have in the past, but it's just weird, it's a one and done thing, I guess.
Well, all it takes is one deconversion, I guess. Or are you saying the god thing coming down?
Oh yeah, more like the god thing. The theists aren't going to come down because then they have to defend their beliefs.
Yeah, the god thing is never going to happen. They're imaginary.
I see someone. Harold, would you like to come up, or did they already? No, they already left. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a weak position that they hold most of the time. I don't think I've ever talked to a theist that holds their position for a good reason, right? Most of the time it's logical fallacies, or actually almost every time it's logical fallacies. Sometimes it's just outright stupidity.
Well, I think there's a few things happening culturally. It's what everyone, especially if it's the majority religion, of your culture, is doing. And then we have a lot of fears and phobias as humans that I think keep us in reasons for very emotional reasons, and then what they try and do is try to find logic, but logic and reason is not really the primary driver here. For instance, heaven and hell. Heaven and hell comes from a desire for us to both live forever and have some sort of justice, because bad people get away with things and then sometimes they die, and then we have no way of saying, but they didn't face their crimes. And so heaven and the punishment system of hell is a good way to implement that. And then fear of death is a fantastic motivator, both for the benign, that is to say, oh no, grandma or the dog or the cat has passed away or died. I shouldn't use euphemisms. Or unlived. I guess we should use euphemisms. And then it has this unfortunate, terrible side effect where if you remove the fear of death, I mean, the 9/11 hijackers, this is why they were able to do what they were able to do. It wasn't that they were psychopathic. It was that they actually thought what they were doing was morally right, and that they were going to continue living onward in heaven for the righteous deeds that they had done. Religion.
Yeah. We'd love to have you. And that geopolitic guy that came in here still owes me money.
Oh my goodness, I was ranting. I was muted. I won't do that again. Who owes you money?
Geopolitic talk, the guy that came in here for a second. Bro still owes me money. Like $10,000 or something.
Should come on and pay you.
Yeah. I pinged him. Geopolitic talk. Come back in here. You owe me like 10 grand, bro. This is a good time to stream. This is a good time to pay up, Geopolitic talk. But yeah, if any of y'all want to come up here and discuss your religion, we'd love to have you, or theistic beliefs, whatever the case may be. It looks like we've got a deist. What's up, Pantheos? I pulled you up.
Hello.
What's going on, dude?
Yo, what's up, Taco? Hello, Amy. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Doing well.
I'm a deist. I'm not religious. But when you're talking about, I think Amy was talking about death, right? I mean, for me, like, end is only a concept inside time, but like time itself exist only for the observer, right? So if consciousness is what precedes time, how can something within time claim to end the perceiver of time itself?
Because I am not sure that time is something that is existing at all points. I mean, it would be interesting to think that way, but from at least as far as I could tell, we are moving through it forward. We sometimes could imagine it being manipulated through general relativity and stuff, how fast you are going. You can actually go forward in time. I don't think you go into the past. Nonetheless, it's not us that created time. I shouldn't use the word even created because that's already what the creationist model. It was from the Big Bang expanding. And from that expansion, you now have space-time. Because without that, everything is on a single point, and it would just be point A moving to point A, moving to point A, moving to point A, etc. forever. Now you have space. Space allows for time. They're tied together, and you can put a mark on them.
So you're saying time began with the Big Bang's expansion. Then you already agree that before the expansion, time didn't exist. But if time didn't exist before the Big Bang, that means the cause of the bang existed outside of time. That means something timeless triggered time itself. You've just described God without even realizing it, Amy.
Well, no, because you are describing God as a timeless thing, and gods are a variety of different entities that we have created.
Well, yes, but you say the Big Bang started time. I say it revealed it. But something had to observe the spark for it to even register as an event, because without awareness, no bang could ever be known. So which one came first? Is it the explosion or the eye that sees it all?
To have a big banger.
But it doesn't need to have awareness. No, there was no awareness there, and the Big Bang happened. You're right. No one was aware that the Big Bang happened for billions and billions of years later, and yet it still happened.
Well, if you say it just happened, you're still describing an event. But an event only exists relative to an observer.
No,
without awareness, there's no concept of happened.
No.
The term itself collapses.
Absolutely not. The answer to whether it makes a sound in a forest, whether you hear it, is yes. It emits a sound because the sound wave gets sent out. Does anyone hear it? Well, if there's not an observer, sure, it doesn't matter. The tree still fell. It still made a sound. End.
Well, okay, you have a point there. I guess you have a point there, but I mean, when you're describing what you're describing is vibration, it's not sound, right? Sound is vibration interpreted by a conscious system, like an ear, a brain, awareness. Like without all of that, it's not sound, it's just kinetic movement, isn't it?
But this is what I'm trying to separate out, is that there are natural events, and then there are the ways that we interpret that. As in, there were no moral laws out going whoom, 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 whoom out in the universe. But once we have more than two people trying to figure out social situations, we can start to say, what is morality? But without those conscious observers, morality doesn't exist. Just like your interpretation of what you're saying sound is.
Interesting aspect. Well, thank you very much, you two. I really appreciate you having me on the stage. Good energy, solid vibes, solid exchange of ideas, respect for holding space for real dialogue. Enjoy your debate. Thank you very much.
Welcome to atheism, my brother in atheism. It's good to have you.
It was a good conversation.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Are there any other future atheists in the audience that would like to come up here and join us? What did you think about that one?
Well, he had good, it's the energy that we want, because we want to have a good back and forth, and yet I wish it all went that way. I'm kind of almost taken back because Taco, I feel like that's the conversation that we want every time. Okay.
Yeah, every big bang needs big banger.
We are obsessed. Can I tell you the crazy irony, Taco, is that consciousness is one of the most amazing things in the universe. It truly is an amazing mechanism. We're able to know the universe as being a part of the universe. Nonetheless, it trips us up because of how amazing it is. We have to put it at supernatural. And the moment you take it away from a natural mechanism, as amazing as other natural mechanisms, because it honestly, it goes hand in hand with digestion. But if I could put it as amazing as, let's just say, we naturally heal ourselves. We have built-in Band-Aids that our blood will clot, and we will just naturally heal ourselves. And, if we had to put that up against consciousness, I feel like we start to see that, no, it's not that it's supernatural. It's just amazing. And it's the mechanism that is us. And so we value it so high that we put it to everything. Little rant at the end there. But again, if anyone feels otherwise, please come raise your hand, one and all. Tell us what you believe and why.
They're asking, what is happening? Help, how do I leave the stage?
Wahaha, you're stuck in... I don't know if this is heaven, hell, or purgatory. I'm not really a big fan of any of those concepts, so you pick.
Well, yeah, if any of you unrighteous theists would like to join us up here and get deconverted real quick, feel free to click that button. We'd love to have you up here.
What? Yes, indeed. Christian, Muslim, atheist, Mormons who believe that they're Christians. They are technically. It's like this weird thing. We leave that up to you guys.
Well, that's why I've been saying so-called theists so much. Because they're all just so-called theists. None of them actually believe any of it.
I just disagree with so many notions of religion. Just the notion of prophethood, like the middlemen for God, which, a deist doesn't have that, but like all the popular modern religions have prophets, and I don't understand why we don't see prophets as such a corrupt concept. Well, I just want to be friends too, whoever's in chat. You are all my brothers and sisters. We are, all related in some way. I hate to say evolution would show that because it does make it sound evolution is religious, but
No, we're all brothers and sisters in atheism.
And there is no one else coming to help each other. So all the problems and ails that we have in this world, if we want change to happen, or, no one's coming to save us. It has to be us.
Well, we can definitely save some of the people in chat. They got to be willing to raise their hand, though, and put their hand raise where that green button with the hand on it is.
We don't bite unless you're into that. That joke is old as time, but sending love out to everybody. And I hope your weekend is doing well. If, you're not at church and you're here with us, I hope you're having a good time.
Yeah, we're doing deconversions for the people in the chat. Also taking stories about gods, ghosts, goblins, demons. I don't know. You got any other supposed supernatural stuff that so-called theists claim?
I will say that there was someone who told me that little... we were talking about goblins earlier. Basically, little goblins would steal the shoes of children, Vietnamese children, and American soldiers. Those two people specifically. And we were like, oh, okay.
That's an interesting position.
So the internet, you never know what you're gonna find. Ooh, someone has their hand raised.
That's the DS guy
That's
from
the same
earlier.
guy. I was gonna say I deja vu for a second.
Yeah, what's up?
Hello again. I wanted to come back for another chat.
We
So
gotcha.
I thank you, Taco. So I've been researching into like OBEs, and NDEs, and Gnosticism and all that stuff. And I've noticed that most of these religions they talk about like reptiles. Have you heard about the? Has anyone heard about the reptilian theory?
I will say,
No, I've never heard of a reptilian before. Tell me all about reptiles.
All right, so most of the, especially like Christianity, it talks about like a talking snake and stuff like that. So I believe like the white tunnel of light that people see when they're about to pass on is like a trap, you know. And these reptilians, like a Christian will see Jesus, a Muslim will see Muhammad, an a Hindu will see Krishna, an atheist, you guys might see a dog or a loved one or something. And that like manipulates you into like the white tunnel of light. And when you go in there, you come back down for another round on the simulation. Reincarnation. That's what I believe in. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's BS?
can I tell you why reincarnation would not be fair? Because I
Why not?
understand it comes from, again, our need for justice. But the problem I have with reincarnation is that the person who is dealing with whatever the past lives are, in my opinion, should have no bearing. It is passing sins on to, in essence, children who had nothing to do with the original instance, and thus you're really making people suffer for no reason.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, if the universe operates through balance, like every action having a consequence, then reincarnation is simply that balance stretched across time. It's not punishment, it's not suffering, but it's recalibration. Like a soul re-entering the simulation to harmonize the energy once it's distorted. Because justice, like you mentioned,
Okay,
is
but
the
can
human
I-
sense.
Can I ask you then? Okay, imagine
Yeah, sure.
A child develops cancer. Is that because of the bad karma that they had in a past life?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, that's and this is question. It deserves reverence. It's not quick answers, okay? Because when we talk about children and suffering, we're touching the edge of mystery itself, where human logic stops and like soul law begins. Because karma isn't like you were bad, now you get punished. That's human misunderstanding. Karma is energy seeking balance. It's not morality keeping the score. Like a child with cancer isn't paying for sins. They may be carrying a collective or ancestral frequency, or even playing a sacred role in awakening compassion in the people around them. So from the soul's view, life isn't measured by length or comfort, Amy. It's measured by evolution, because some souls come in and teach through pain, courage, through limitation, or
Can I
maybe even
pause you
unity
for a
through
second?
tragedy.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about the soul, you're going back to a balance, but I have to ask again, why then is the child getting cancer?
Well, I mean, I believe the reason why an individual, like a child, is getting cancer, I mean, I can't tell you exactly why one child gets cancer and another doesn't, because sometimes it's genetics, environment, or chance. Sometimes it feels like a mystery. But what I do know is that suffering doesn't mean guilt, and
Sure, but
innocence doesn't always guarantee safety.
Can I pause you? Because I feel like you gave the correct answer. And so that's really what I want to highlight anyway, is that, yeah, that is actually, cancer seems to have numerous factors. It could have been environmental. It could have been genetic. It could have been a circumstance that we're still trying to figure out because of how prevalent and horrific that cancer is. But what I would push back on is there is nothing within a karma system and nothing within a past life that gave that child cancer. And if it did, I would hate that system or despise that system.
Well, yeah, I understand your point perfectly. I agree that no mystical karma system handled that child cancer. You know, cells mutate, DNA miscopies, toxins enter, and biology has its own laws, I guess. But when I talk about karma, I'm not picturing a cosmic scoreboard. I'm talking about interconnected cause and effect, you know, the web where biology, psychology, society, and environment all feed into one another. Because the child's illness isn't divine punishment. It's part of that wider web of causes that we participate inside. Some of those causes are inside of us, like genes, immune response, and others could be collective, like pollution, diet, stress culture, maybe medical inequality. So if you think about it in that sense, karma is also social.
Well, no,
what humanity
hold on.
does.
Pause, because I was agreeing with everything until you said karma is also social. Because everything before that was all natural, and I agreed with. Like, it could have been because of pollutants, whether during or after pregnancy. There could have been a variety of reasons. It's not a divine punishment is the word that you used. I agree with that. But why use the word karma? What does it get us?
Well, I mean, karma is just a word that, you know, we came up with. But the word karma, it actually means like to do, if you like to make. So karma means action, if you think about it, not punishment, and it's not reward. It's just cause and effect set in motion by an act. Like if you look at the Hindu and Buddhist texts, karma was never about divine judgment. It was about energetic physics. You know, the law that every action has like an echo. And over centuries, what happened? People moralized it, turning into good and bad karma. But originally, it meant momentum of consciousness. You can think of karma like a psychological conditioning of like Newton's third law or something. Every thought, emotion, and action sets up a trajectory. So whether you call it karma or consequence, it's the same universal pattern of feedback. So if you think about it, it's like an ancient attempt to describe something that modern science is still unpacking, that no act is isolated and the universe keeps its receipts.
I would say the karma tends to be a moralistic.
He's reading off of ChatGPT, I think.
No, I'm not reading off ChatGPT. I'm opening my mind, Taco. I'm opening my mind.
But is karma about consciousness, or is it just the social effects that are just happening? Because what I'm trying to isolate is there a supernatural element here, or is this just, you said cause and effect? Well, I believe in cause and effect, but I prefer just to call it that, because what happens is, and this is what happens in a lot of religious language, is they seem to make one word equal another word, and then we argue over that. I'm not saying you're doing this, but for example, we argue with people who say, well, God equals love, and they say, well, you believe in love, don't you? And so I say, yeah, we believe in love. It's just that I believe that when you add that word into the conversation, it creates unnecessary cognitive burden. It makes the conversation harder, muddier. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm saying words like karma do that. I don't think that they...
I mean, like they're heavy words. They are like words like consciousness and like love and all that stuff. They're very heavy words. They are. Like I believe, like for example, the Bible. It's not just like a religious book. It's a manual for consciousness. You know, it's written in all these symbols and metaphorical stuff and like supernatural. When it comes to supernatural stuff, I also like don't believe in like Casper the Ghost or like stuff like that. But I mean. Yeah, I believe like there's no like personal God or anything. Like I'm more a pantheist approach. I like pantheism. Do you know about pantheism?
I do know a little bit about pantheism, or at least the lay version. I would, however, push back on, well, not push back. I guess it depends on how you mean the Bible looks at consciousness. Because to me, the Bible is a group of collected fables, traditions, stories telling about how the Jewish people came to be and their select God and the triumphs and tragedies that go against and for them. But it wouldn't be a literal tale. I know you don't believe it's literal, but I get worried with the term consciousness. I'll tell you why. Because consciousness to me is a very natural phenomena. It is a very biological, dare I say, animalistic. I'll put a giant asterisk on that because there could be aliens, or we could create robots or one day that have consciousness. But right now, it is this horribly animalistic thing that we like to put everywhere. And I would argue that is where pantheism is, to tie us all back. I take issue with pantheism. I'll tell you. Let me compliment you, and then try to disagree with you. I like the fact the further away from, sorry, Abrahamic religions, but the further away from the Abrahamic religions, the majority of religions currently, the happier I am, because they come with it such dogmas that I view as such just socially toxic. Not because they were made that way, but it's because it's been 1,600 years, 2,000 years, 3,500 years. That's what happens when you try to keep those moral systems for that long. So that being said, I like that. Nonetheless, and no prophets and all that stuff. Nonetheless, I get worried about consciousness being more than it is, and that is to say an animalistic mechanism. And I'm proud of it being an animalistic mechanism, because I think that it kind of loses what it is supposed to be and the kind of amazingness of us moving chronologically through time as we experience life. The story has to have a beginning, a middle, and end. That's kind of, how we're driven. And so, although I think it would be cool for it to, and it depends on how you're using that term, either, consciousness is fundamental, consciousness is everywhere, consciousness is in every, I would have to hear your exact definition, but I am naturally skeptical of consciousness that leaves any physical form. And I would say that's for good reason. I know that's a lot, but I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I was an atheist for many years before becoming a quote unquote pantheist. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. I'm not a philosopher or anything, but Spinoza's ideas are really reasonable if you think about it, and it makes sense to me because it recognizes one reality.
I just can't help it. Did you know Spinoza Jews used to issue the equivalent of fatwas and disbarment from the Jewish religion? They don't do it anymore. But Spinoza was one of the last few Jews who got expelled from Judaism for his deism.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's interesting. That's news to me, Amy. I didn't know that.
Listen, I have a Jewish family. I love Jews. Most Jews are liberal, and so they would never act like that. I don't want to give Jews a bad name for that. I find it just interesting because it was the conservative, reactionary, fundamentalist Jews that, yes, actually reacted very negatively to his deistic arguments. They were viewed as very liberal of the day.
Yeah, well, shalom, my friend. But you did know Einstein was also a pantheist as well. He was never really religious, but he was
or deistic, pantheistic, something like that.
Yeah, he had like that vibe, that pantheistic vibe, and that's what my name means. Is like pantheos. I'm Greek, by the way. Yasas Philemou. I'm Greek, and like pan, it means like all, and theos is like God. So like pantheos is like all in God. Like at least it offers like a framework that's both like rational and spiritual at the same time. Even I know that you atheists are really not into that spiritual stuff. I mean, it doesn't deny evidence,
Well,
right? But it
you can be
reinterprets it.
spiritual if you're an atheist. Atheist doesn't disclude you. I would say Taco and myself are very a specific type of atheist. I correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like I'm speaking higher level would be skepticism, and from our skepticism, that meets atheism as a position. But I would say we also don't believe in a variety of other things like ghosts and goblins for that same reason.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, that's why I told you about like Casper the Ghost before. I mean,
No,
it's like
I like.
scientific spirituality. Like pantheism is like spiritual, like scientific spirituality. If you think about it, it doesn't reject reason. It just refuses to wonder to accident. Because like the same laws, right? The same laws that govern stars and planets also govern your heartbeat. So you can think of like the Big Bang, for example, right? Like a heartbeat, if you think about it. I mean, we don't know the cause though to it. That's why I stopped becoming an atheist, because we don't know about consciousness. We don't know about aliens. We don't know about like the
But
Big
can I
Bang.
pause you?
So that's why I stopped becoming an atheist.
Well, I want to win you back over because none of those things. I will make this assertion, and I feel like we can back it up. None of those questions will ever be answered by religion, and absolutely all of them are going to be answered by science. So, for example, I view consciousness as a system of awareness. It is this mechanism for gathering inputs so that it can give outputs. I know that sounds very vague. However, that goes in contrast to systems that don't have awareness, like plants and fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Animals have this mechanism that when we are awake, when we are conscious, we can go out, we can gather not only information, I would argue the primary driver of consciousness is so we could put food in our mouth. That is the way that we gather energy. It's what separates us from plants and fungi. We digest it and then get rid of it. That is the primary driver of being an animal. And then the optional is to mate. You eat, you get rid of it, you mate. Anything else, and I know that sounds very nihilistic, because what I would argue is our body's functions aren't the drivers of what is rich and amazing about life. Family, friends, loved ones, learning new things. And so, because we have come so far in technology, we're far away from our basic needs not being met. We're able to get food very easily. We're able to sleep without being, dangerous predators hunting us and stuff. And so all of that, okay, I'll wrap up that consciousness. Then I would say the Big Bang, very much only understood, at least so far, in terms of science. We know the Big Bang is true from two pillars: the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is the early imprint of the universe. This allows us to see basically a picture as the Big Bang was happening. And then Hubble's law. Just like the famous telescope Hubble, he was able to see that almost everything in the universe is actually accelerating away from each other. We call this being red shifted. There are a few objects that are blue shifted, like the Andromeda galaxy, that are eventually going to collide with us. But the vast majority of the universe is actually moving away from each other in every direction. And thus, but
like, did you know like the Big Bang Theory came from like a Catholic? Like, obviously, I think he stole his ideas from Einstein or some other thing, but that was from a Catholic, right?
I would
a Christian
say there's
guy,
some
right?
truth in that, but we don't have to oversell it. Is that idea has been around a while. It was true that the Catholic Church employed their own priests who were themselves physicists. And because of that, it was indeed a Catholic priest who, they say indeed it was a Catholic priest, but it was still a physicist who, yes, indeed, helped us add to the fact that we now know that the Big Bang is fact. Well, it is a working theory, which is the highest level in science, giant asterisk. But yes.
That's a nice way to put it, Amy. I like that. Educated. But before I come down, I think Mango's going to come up, right? But before I go down, as long as the origin of consciousness remains unsolved, I can't commit to atheism. I'm sorry to say this, but the fact that
Can I cause you something? I'm going to tell you really something serious about me. And I'm not going to tell you something serious about me to just for novelty. I want you to know this about me because I want it to be as sharp as a knife for you, okay? All right. When you think about consciousness, all right? When I was 28 years old, I live in the United States. There's we use the famous interstate highways. I was on I-95 and going very fast down this highway. I discovered that I had epilepsy. That is to say, I woke up in a hospital.
Oh, my. Are you okay?
I am 100% okay. I survived because of the seatbelt. As much as I'm a speedster, I wear my seatbelt, and I am alive. Since then, we've tried different medications. I've since been under a medication regimen where I no longer have seizures. I am perfectly fine. Because of science, my epilepsy is under control. But the reason I tell you this is because when you look under my diagnosis, it will say loss of consciousness. And I want you.
Oh, so you had like an ego death then, if you think about it, right? Well, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to live with. I mean, I really respect you for being open about that. But I have also I have some ego death stories as well. But I would love to tell you about that later on. But you want to finish off?
Well, I guess this is my point. My point is, and I would indeed, in further conversations, I would love to hear them. And we could talk about near-death experiences. And I would argue, say, I've had ego death similar in Iowa, drinking ayahuasca, things like that. Nonetheless.
Oh, that's delicious. That's delicious. That's like I love that. Yeah, delicious. I would say but, okay, no drug talk, right?
Delicious. Yeah. I don't know if it tastes, but I agree with you. But yes, the reason I bring this up is just that is my scalpel. When people tell me this is conscious, this is consciousness, what I ask themselves, are we talking about the same thing that the EMTs were writing on my diagnosis? And so I get really, dare I say, medical and biological about it, because that's where I think it ultimately lays. I think that's where the two sides are. It all lays in biology, and in some way it does not. And I would say that's my scalpel, that experience.
All right. Amy, I wanted to hear more. I'm going to add you on, right? Let's talk about this later on. Thank you for having me on the stage. I think Mango's waiting to come up now. Let's get Mango up. Thank you very much for having me, Amy and Taco. I'll be listening.
Thank you. It was lovely having the conversation.
Thanks for coming up.
All right. Taco, unless you have something to say, go on to Mango.
Oh, I was just looking at this guy's bio, seeing if he was a theist. It looks like he's atheist, though.
Oh, well,
but
maybe he disagrees, but I don't know.
Pull him up for a minute. Mango, what's up?
What's up, man? Yeah, yes, hello.
Hi, how are you? What do you believe in and why?
Doing good, and yeah, actually correct for my bio. You know, my bio is like that for a particular reason. It's not fully what I use my framework, but yeah, I'm not an atheist. I think there's a error to atheist, actually.
Oh, what position do you hold?
Agnosticism, I use that. And then I use that to with pantheism, you know, because it seems like pantheism is the only one that's coherent to identify the God thing.
So you're an agnostic pantheist?
Yeah. I mean, pantheist is just a simple statement that you can move on, but I don't need to, use it as like a practice, just like first grade education.
Okay. I just don't feel like calling the universe as God is convincing or appealing
Oh yeah,
or anything
that's a
like that,
social
right?
thing. You're right. Why would I want to do that? I mean, it seems kind of intentional to kind of socially manipulate you to like kind of make you feel better with your feelings. So yeah, that's why people don't use it that way. They want to, I don't know, use mainstream religion, I guess, like Abrahamic or like, Christian, Judaism, Muslim, I guess because it sounds appealing to them, they want to stick to that. Maybe it's a tribalistic thing, I'm not sure, but yeah, maybe I just don't want to do that for the sake of my lifestyle.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just don't feel like it's a very good position.
Well,
It's kind of lame to me. What's up?
no, yeah, but well, I guess we would turn that around and say, why are you a pantheist?
Meaning, why did I just point at something and call it God, then move on? I mean, that's basically what they do. They call the volcano God. Then they literally just point at something. They use empirical evidence to identify it. So they didn't need to like do all the I don't know the Aztec dances and shit, right? But people just did that as a start. At least they use empirical evidence to prove something exists in materialistic reality. Instead of just LARPing or just trying to use metaphysics to this complex, Lord of the Rings like bullshit.
Sure, but I would argue now you're just sounding like us again. Not a bad thing. I'm just saying, come join us. The water's fine.
But we should have left that things at pointing at stuff, right? At least we do that. You don't want to, make people go to solipsism. That's one thing.
Sure. In fact, I would say the two things, not that I don't want to, is like a mission statement, but like the theists seem to have a lot of problems with solipsism and nihilism. And I think there's a big irony to that because they all think that we are edgy nihilism. Again, there is a truth to the fact that we are a deterministic universe. It's cold and uncaring. Most likely our will is driven by underlying urges and all that. Nonetheless, on the day-to-day, we live our lives. And, unless terrible things are happening, we find joys in family, friends, loved one, activities. It's just weird because I get a lot of existential nihilistic fear from theists that I feel like they think is what atheists go through, but I don't know. I find it more often in their circle.
You know what pushes me more into solipsism is all the theists that I talk to. Do you think that's a joke?
Listen,
It's like most of the theists and pantheists and deists I talk to are placed there by my brain to like make me think this reality is more real, or maybe it's to try to push me out of the solipsism, further convincing me solipsism that is true, because I just don't get how so many people can be so not all there when it comes to this stuff.
well, we just have, unfortunately, a lot of, gree-grees, woo-woo. There's a lot of things that come. Again, the irony is that we believe ourselves such an intelligent creature because of religion, but it seems to be our early attempts at trying to figure out the world, and because we got it wrong, at least for most of the things, every once in a while, I'm sure religion says something that actually goes to reality. But 95% of the claims,
I mean, I gotta be, ethically consistent here. I wouldn't want someone to get like an identity crisis over this, right? Or develop some sort of schizophrenia, because I'm trying to draw the line there between, the crazies,
Well, and there is a difference between I'd say most of the time we get flack if we try to say that theism is to me it's not an intelligence issue. There are tons of smart theists. The problem is that we are not completely logical, rational human beings, no matter who we are. We are still, unless someone's a psychopath, we are emotionally driven. And, there are ways that we can answer philosophical questions that different parts of our brain will light up. And sometimes the logical portion and sometimes the emotional portion will light up. And we see this when we talk to people and ask them things like the trolley problem. And you see how logical and rational they are being until their family is involved. And so, yeah, I mean, we are unfortunately these animals, and religion, ironically, is part of being an animal. It tends to be this higher level. We are we're such creators that we've created this thing that we have called the creator.
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to get rid of it. Maybe use it as an art or something. There's Lord of the Rings, there's Harry Potter. That's where I say, what, let's do that.
I think we need it more in weird ways. We need that stuff more than ever, just as alternatives. I think that's why superheroes are so popular, is because mythic structure is such a useful tool for writing stories, games, and movies that we need a non-religious way to be able to do the hero's journey or the escape from the cage, or I'm trying to think of what the shadow of the cave. All of these examples, we just can do them without religion.
I don't think that they see it that way, though.
No. Well, they will actually assert that morality comes from God. They're also the most annoying thing about religion and morality is its subjective morality asserting itself as objective morality. And I'm not against either subjective or objective morality. I just wish they would be honest about it. And I get it. You can't really be honest about it, because if you think it comes from a omni God, I guess you are going to think it's objective. But from our view, it's like, well, why do you hate, insert group of people? And you're like, oh, because it says so in the Torah or the Old Testament or the Quran. And you're like, oh, but it also says don't eat shellfish, like 3 passages away. And they're like, yeah, but that's the Old Testament. And you're like, oh, okay. Anyway, done ranting. Anything else, Mango?
Well, from my...
Oh, no, go talk. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, from my conversations, it just seems like they're just ignoring Matthew 5:17-20,
Well, which one would that be? But they do ignore a lot of the Bible.
You have to follow the old law, you're going to hell.
Oh, yes. Yes, they ignore that a lot.
Follow that old law, boys and girls.
Well,
You're going to hell.
They love the 10 Commandments. They want it, sometimes printed in school books and in banners, and yet anything else besides that, no me gusta.
Yeah, that's how far my brain works. If someone wants to go dive deep into the actual text, they can try that, pass the mic to someone else, because how I use my brain my entire life is I examine things like pointing at them, right? But I don't LARP like people do. I don't do that. It's not a natural thing for me to think of such concepts, right? Like divine, Holy Spirit. Yeah, I'm a different kind of being, right? Some people may call me like a devil or something. Like these apologists, they just call me that because they want to add that to their LARP. Like I don't understand that concept at all. That's kind of retarded. They
call you a devil?
Yes, they literally call me a devil for pointing some flaws out.
You're not a demon. demons don't exist, and they are just using that. Magical people don't exist. Neither do magical evil people. So they're just using that as an insult. Lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, they are not all there, probably, if they're telling you that. At least in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of extreme, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's just their way of not being able to properly disagree with you. But, I get that a lot, but in different directions.
Like, does that seem like something a normal person would say to another normal person?
Nope. Unfortunately, that's religion.
Or even the claim that a god exists and you're going to go live in a new earth after this earth gets destroyed on this earth by the same thing that made this earth, that knew that this earth was going to have to be destroyed to create a new earth.
Can I point out how annoying it is that the major religions on this planet have to be apocalyptic ones? Why did they have to be the ones that ended up being the major ones right now? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I still love, again, all my theist brothers, Abrahamic theist brothers and sisters even, but it is just interesting. Of all the ones, end of the world.
Yeah, I don't feel like we get any theists up here, though, anymore. Like, where are all the real theists? I guess Pantheos wants to come back up. Why not, right?
Yeah, go for it. I pass the mic,
All right. Well, thank you for coming up, Mango. What's up, Pantheos? You wanted to come back up? You have more words of knowledge?
Yeah,
words of wisdom?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like to speak. I do. I like to talk. I know there's no theist yet. I think D Prime is a theist, if I'm not mistaken. Mango Man also. Yeah, he was good. I liked him as well. But I actually read the Gospel of Matthew. I did. I read like some of the Gospels. I did, and I can come to a conclusion of saying that the Gospel of Thomas is a mirror of consciousness. I'm telling you, look, listen to me for a minute, right? Every story reflects like an inner peace, an inner process of awakening. Now, I don't know like the full I don't know the full story of it, but the Gospels are all about Jesus's life. Like as an atheist, Taco, let me ask you, right? Taco, I mean, Jesus was a man. I believe that he was a real man. I mean, I don't believe in the Trinity myself. I don't believe that he was God or anything. I don't believe in the Trinity, but I believe that he was like a real Jewish man. I believe that he really existed. Taco, do you believe that Jesus was real?
I'm agnostic on Jesus' existence. I lean towards mythicism, though.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. But I mean, there are so many, the Josephus. I can't pronounce it. Josephus. I can't pronounce it. I mean, he also announces Jesus, and many other people talk about him as well. And I believe that Matthew, for example, was writing for a Jewish audience. That it already spoke in the language of prophecy and metaphorical kind of sense. So we know it's all symbolism and stuff like that, parables, numbers, and blah blah blah. Also, numbers are really interesting as well, because the number 9. Do you know how interesting the number 9 is? 144,000 people go to heaven according to the Revelation. That's add the numbers together. That's 9. 153 fish. Yeah. yeah, 153 fish, add them numbers together, Taco. What'd you get? 9. And I don't know if you believe yeah, 30. No, it's not. 40 as well. 40 is also a big number as well. 40 days in the wilderness, 40-day fasting and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys believe in numerology and stuff like that, but numerology is really interesting. And I don't know, it's it makes sense. It does when you put the jigsaw together. I don't know, call me crazy or something, but I mean, the last book I read was also The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. Interesting guy. I read that book as well. But other than that, I mean, like the wilderness, where it talks about in the Gospels, I think the wilderness represents the soul's testing and isolation, and the mountain is all about like the highest state of consciousness, and all the crucifixion and stuff like that is ego death. Amy, that's ego death and rebirth of spirit within. I'm telling you, like you can say that atheists can become spiritual. I believe in what you said, my friend. I believe that atheists can be spiritual. But well, what do you think?
No, I'm gonna respond to your thing about stories in a minute. I know Taco probably wanted to respond to what you said, but after he does that, I'll tell you about ego death and I want consciousness and the hero's journey. But Taco, did you
did respond already, right? What else is there?
No, you didn't. It's like you were dodging. I don't know. It's like you're running away. Like Amy is the one giving the good answer.
I don't know what there is to dodge.
Well, Amy explained consciousness really well. I was wondering if maybe you can explain it as well, Taco.
Consciousness is the ability to, I guess, sense the environment around you and react to it.
Oh, okay, that's a good way to put it. Well, that's a lovely way to put it. But I believe Amy.
I would call what we call the mind a product of sentience, not consciousness.
What is sentience? I haven't heard of that word. What does that mean?
Sentience is just like more advanced than consciousness. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. It's the
more capabilities.
All right. So that you see the consciousness question.
So like the ability to like think and that type of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like even animals have consciousness as well. Like for example, the sunflower seed. You know the one.
I don't know about I don't know if that's considered consciousness, but.
All right, why does the sunflower follow the sun then? I believe that, I don't know, I mean, obviously they don't have like a brain like and a heart like we do, but I believe that plants are like kind of conscious. I mean, they don't have obviously consciousness as we know it, but I still believe that, you know, like they have something. I don't know if it's something to do with the source or something, but consciousness is the one thing.
The problem with the terms though, right? Like, is that people try to say that, like, that's why I think you need to be more precise, right? That's why I'd say if you're talking about what most people would call consciousness, they're actually talking about sentience.
Yeah, sentience. Yeah, that sentience. I mean, plants, like, they don't have nervous systems like we do, right? So they don't feel pain or like emotion, like in a human sense that we do. But they still react to like gravity and vibration and touch and, you know, light. Like, for instance, like trees, right? Trees can warn each other or of insects attacking through like chemical signals or some, I don't know if they're psychic or whatever, you know, like, I mean, like roots could share like nutritions through all these networks, right? Through these fungal networks. So they just process information differently. I don't know, like if they're like, I don't know if they're sentient or not, but I mean, like,
I just don't know if that would be, that could, depending on your definition, but I don't know if that would be considered consciousness or not. But they're definitely not sentient. They don't have a brain. They don't have a mind.
Yeah, but like, how do look, how do the sunflower, like how what Mango said, like responding to external stimuli through a biological nervous system. So they have a nervous system, right? So plants have a nervous system. I mean, they don't have a brain, but they still have a nervous system, right? But if we mean like sensitivity and like intelligent response, then they don't. I mean, I don't know. I think they do. I mean, like look at the sunflower. I keep putting up the sunflower analogy, for example. Why is it following the sun?
I will say the sunflower. I was just collecting some of the things you were asking. The sunflower follows the sun to try and get the maximum amount of sunlight possible so that it can photosynthesize. It is for the obvious reason. It is because it wants to get more light.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean, you're right. Maybe the sunflower doesn't have a brain, nerves, or like subject awareness like me and you do. But so by a definition of sentience, it's not conscious the way a human or animal is. But what does it? But what it does have is responsiveness and intelligence because it's tracking light, like you said, right?
I wouldn't
So
say it's intelligence. Intelligence is going to be a whole nother thing.
Well, and that's the other thing. It does exactly. I would agree with Taco. It doesn't have intelligence. What I feel like you're trying to do is show how not only important plants are, but how they can react in different ways. I would agree with you. I would argue that there's nothing about a plant experience that has to become conscious because they don't need to be conscious. In fact, I would even argue that consciousness came about because plants don't need to be conscious. It's that plants actually terraform the earth first, and that consciousness, I was about to say human consciousness, that's true, but consciousness and then our closer brother and sisters, the fungi, are actually reacting to the fact that plants have taken over the earth. Because after they have taken over the earth, and they are the most successful way of actually producing energy, which is just to sit there and collect as much sunlight as you can and turn it into energy, well, then we are the niches left. One of those niches is fungi. Fungi inject their stomach acid, aka the equivalent, because they don't have stomachs, onto objects and break things down. We are the inverse of that. We walk around as conscious beings and we put things in our mouth so that it gets digested. And the way I'd separate out consciousness and sentience, because, you know, there are a lot of different ways we could cut this up, and to get a little bit pedantic, the way I view consciousness and sentience, the main difference is being able to feel things. It's arguably that you could be conscious and aware of stimuli going on and have no feelings whatsoever. And that is the way that I separate that. I would argue plants are not conscious, they are not sentient, and they don't need to be, because they have equivalent mechanisms, some of which you pointed out, which are just fantastic on their own, and are, if anything, are actually the underlying building blocks of all the others.
Amy, Amy, that raises the bigger question. Where did that instinct and precision come from? The way a sunflower tracks light, or a vine that seeks support through even if the plant doesn't know something about it, nature clearly does. If consciousness only appears where it's needed, then that means the universe knows where to deploy it and when to deploy it. That's awareness choosing its form and not just random chemistry playing around here. So I agree with what you said. Like, plants don't need consciousness, but their effortless harmony hints that consciousness doesn't need them either. So it's the field that they grow inside of, the same field that we wake inside and call life.
So I agree that it does form without it doesn't form without a consciousness, but what it forms from, the actual mechanism, I would argue, is evolution. Is that there were flowers that were like the sunflower that maybe look like them, and their flower didn't tilt towards the sun, and because of that small amount of advantage that the sunflower had, it was able to outproduce, outlive, outmate, ultimately, all of its competitors. And so it's actually a mechanism like the environment. Sometimes it's sex, like the reason why a peacock has such a beautiful plume is sheerly because females decided that is what they wanted. And generation after generation, There was a selection process that brought about, and it actually changed the environment and the biology.
Yeah, absolutely. The sunflower's rotation or the peacock's feathers, they have clear biological mechanism. You know, the sunlight direction, hormones, sexual selection, and evolution explains how perfectly. I can't deny that. But what fascinates me is why behind the beauty and precision. Why? Why does a universe built on random mutation produce patterns that obey mathematics and beauty? And that's the fine-tuning experiment, if I'm not mistaken. You know, mechanisms describe the process, but they don't explain the presence of order itself. You know, like consciousness or whatever we call the underlying intelligence is like the painter, right? And biology, it tells us how the colors spread. But like philosophy asks who chose the palette. So nature is mechanical in function, but the mechanics moves with elegance. That keeps raising that same question that we keep asking. Why should matter care about beauty at all to begin with? The beauty of the universe, you know, like it's so perfect it is. I mean, yeah, the world that we live in is kind of all ruined and all over the place, but the universe is just so perfect it is. Everything is so aligned, you know?
Well, so,
yeah.
A few things on that. I would argue just the latest thing. It depends on what you mean by the universe is perfect. I would say the universe is uncaring and unfeeling. If that is your version of a perfect universe, that is okay. But not to get to the horrible example, to have that comeback. The universe also gives children cancer. And so it is this weird thing that some things are very pretty. To move it on to a not horrible, thought, I teach a data course, the presentation and visualization of data. There is, I would argue, a reason for why we are more prone, susceptible, and dare I say, drawn to aesthetically pleasing things. Aesthetically,
yeah,
we will actually
look like Amy, like the universe that births stars and planets and everything else, it also allows suffering. It gives life and it takes it, I guess. But what we call what we call the universe giving cancer is really the universe allowing consequence, like we talked about before, right? It runs on laws, it does. You know, it runs on mutation and biology. It's the same freedom.
But what is the consequence here? Because to me,
I believe
it looks like the child did nothing. And the consequence is he or she was born. That is the crime that they have committed. And, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the child did nothing to deserve it, but suffering doesn't always line up with fault. That's one of the biggest questions that religion can't answer, of course. Suffering. Like, for me, the fact that an innocent can suffer is exactly what proves consciousness matters. The universe itself is neutral. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if I drop dead or you drop dead. God forbid, touch wood. But we're part of it that can see the unfairness and just respond with care. It's that ability, like, to notice with care and to choose compassion. That's the miracle, I think, even though I probably don't believe in miracles. So no, the child didn't do anything wrong, but every time someone reaches out to ease that kind of pain, the universe briefly leans towards justice again. Maybe that's what consciousness is for, to turn indifference into empathy.
Well, what I would say actually is that's morality. I think you're starting to just frame it in as conscious beings. You know, I don't know if the universe leads towards morality, but I would say us as conscious beings it is virtuous for us to lean towards that.
Yeah, definitely. I understand your point of view, definitely. But look, Amy, what I'm trying to say, right? I believe consciousness is the only thing that ever truly gives. It gives color to the sky. It gives
So
meaning to pain. It gives warmth to love. And without it, without consciousness, the universe would just be machinery. No sunrise, no laughter, no recognition that a child's life even matters. And consciousness is the gift giver that doesn't ask for a thank you. It's the quiet presence that turns existence into experience. And when we use it to care, to protect, and to love, we become the universe giving back to itself, if you think about it, right?
Yes. So I would agree with some of that. I would just separate it out that you said the consciousness is the only thing that gives. I agree with you depending on your definition, because if plants just naturally forming fruit and we pick apples and you say, well, hey, the tree is giving us apples. Well, there's that one definition. But if your other definition is, hey, we're the only thing that can pick the apples and then with a thought in our mind go, I want to give these apples to my mom and dad or my family or to the needy and hungry, then yes, I agree with that definition. I would even go one step further and just to bring it all the way back around to the main subject. This is my key thing. This is why I will say I will argue with anyone deist down below. It truly is the atheist and agnostic line, is that the assertion I will make is there is only one known creator in the universe, and that is animals. Animals are the only known beings we know of that create. And that is to say, a bird makes a nest, a beaver makes a dam, and we make houses. We take something natural and we combine it with a whole bunch of other things and make it something our own. It is artificial. This, I would assert, is what theists are trying to say exists outside of a mind, a body, dare I say, outside of the universe or all of the universe. And so, yes, I would push back on and agree at the same time.
That's a beautiful way to put it. I like that idea. I mean, in one sense, yeah, it's just biology doing its job. But look deeper, Amy, look deeper than that. Everything that lives is giving something, right? The tree, it gives fruit, it gives oxygen, it gives shade, it gives a home for the birds, it does. So whether it means to or not, life still gives.
Well, no, can I pause you? Because
yeah,
I would argue, even though everything you just said I agreed with, I would say it's different from your original, not different from your original definition, but I was trying to suss out what your original definition of gives means. Because I agree with you. If you are saying plants give us fruit and we should be thankful, I don't think we should anthropomorphize it, but I mean, we should be thankful. We are possible because of trees, plants, and the things that eat trees and plants. And so, yes, absolutely. I just don't want to make it supernatural. If everything you're about to say is how amazing that process is, then you're only going to get agreement out of me.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I like that. You know, I like that. I don't think anyone else wants to come up. I mean, that was a nice conversation. So I just stay up then. I guess, you know, we chat a little bit more, I guess, because no one is putting their hand up.
If you can chat for a little bit if you want. It's not a big deal.
But I will also do a
Taco's
call.
being quiet. Yeah.
But I will also do a call. If you do disagree with us, if you do believe that a God exists or any of the claims that Taco made, any supernatural or otherworldly claims, please raise your hand and you will come up here. But yeah, I want to thank you. These have been a nice set of conversations.
Yeah, it was nice. It was. I mean, I didn't hear from Taco that much, but Amy, yeah, you got the brains. I like that. I mean, honestly,
maybe he's the smart one.
Yeah, she's got the brains. I like it. She's got the brains. But maybe God doesn't have to exist the way that people imagine. A man in the sky, with sandals, keeping the score. I understand why you two reject that. I mean, I do too. But the mystery that something exists at all, which is love and awareness and order and beauty, that's what keeps the question alive. If the universe has no reason, no intelligence, and no consciousness behind it, how does it keep giving birth to all those things? Because we are meaning-making, logical creatures. We're living in a supposedly meaningless cosmos. That contradiction itself is just a poetry, like a divine poetry. I don't believe in God because I need comfort, right? Like most people, most religious people do. I sense God because consciousness itself feels like a pulse behind everything, which I talked about the Big Bang before. It's like a heartbeat, I feel like we know the cause. No, sorry, we know the effect, but we don't know the cause. It's not a being, but a beingness, the quiet hum that makes existence more than just random palavra. So why should a god exist? Well, maybe because awareness refuses to disappear. Because even when we look at the void at night, we just look in the cosmos, something inside just keeps whispering, there's more, and we need to learn more. We do. I mean, if you look back in time, people believe that thunder was God, right? And then we understood what lightning was, what thunder was. So we're going to have the answers eventually for consciousness and are we alone in the universe, or the reason of the Big Bang, and all that stuff like that. But I believe there's one question that we can never find out, not even in a million years. And that
you have to join the right
suffering.
server, pseudonym. We're in
Why
the Theist
we
Helpline.
have suffering, why we have pain, why the children have cancer, like you said before, Amy. It's our body, it's our mind saying something's wrong, something is missing. Everyone knows that pain. We've all been through it. We've all had anxiety, depression. We've all had that before. On one level, it's biological, it keeps us alive. But on the inner level, I believe suffering pushes consciousness to grow and expand. And without suffering, we'd never ask why.
Agree, Titan.
We'd never learn compassion and never stretch beyond comfort.
So I agree with you. I most likely think you were talking about aliens. That was the one of the three I didn't talk about. Aliens most likely exist. I don't think that we have been visited by aliens. I think there's good reason for why we haven't, because of just how hard it is to travel through space. I'd like to point out it's hard for us to even get off, low Earth orbit. We tend to stay around our own moon. We're trying just to get to Mars, and that's our closest planet. But we expect a lot of other species, even intergalactic. Nonetheless, it's rare for things to come in sets of one. I don't think the conditions on Earth were as rare. I mean, we are in the pocket of space, that is habitable. Nonetheless, most likely aliens are out there. So I do think that consciousness, there are other conscious beings out there who knows to what sort of complexity. Maybe, dare I say, we often think easy to say less, easy to say maybe they're even more intelligent than us or have more emotional capacity.
Maybe, yeah. Definitely. I believe in aliens as well. I mean, who said that, right? I think it was Carl Sagan that said that. If we're alone in the universe, it's scary. If we're not alone, it's even more scary. Something like that.
Both
I think that
answers,
was Carl Sagan, right?
Both answers would say starkly drastic things about the world that we live in. I would suspect we're actually heavily populated with life. The problem is just how big the universe is, and so it's really going to take It's going to take something much stronger than just life. It's going to take actually something much stronger than even the intelligent levels of us. We don't even qualify as one of those civilizations yet. It's just that we can imagine ourselves as one. And so we hold the other civilizations to a very high bar because they would have to travel it.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
Exactly.
I guess a few other things. I agree with you about the lightning thing. I would add consciousness and universe creation to that list. Gods were attributed to lightning, a natural occurrence. Gods were...
Exactly. All right, listen, Amy.
Yes.
CJ wants to come up. Let me go down. Let's get CJ on the top, and let's continue the conversation a little bit later. I want to continue this conversation. All right, to get CJ up, and we'll talk later. All right, take care.
That sounds fantastic. Another good conversation.
Hey, thank you for coming up. What's up, CJ?
Howdy. How's it going? Good.
Doing all right, man. What
Yep.
you up to?
Good. I wanted to ask you guys a question. I know I asked this to, I believe it was JL and Ix before, but I wanted to get both of your opinions on it.
All right.
Forgive me if
bring it
my internet might be a walkie. So if I tap out or something, just interrupt me and let me know I dropped. But I'll try and summarize it really quick. So basically, when we ask countries around the world, are your needs met? Are your needs met in life met? Secular countries, especially places like Finland, Nordic countries, they do really well on that list. They score very high, and they say, yeah, our needs are actually pretty well met. And when you ask, like when we see the bottom of that spectrum, we see that it's typically religious countries. With, I think Afghanistan is like the dead bottom. Obviously, their needs are not very well met. And so what I'm wondering is, do you think that these, say, like, for example, the secular countries, do you think that in many ways it's more so that they lost religion and then they were able to get all this social infrastructure input into their society? Or do you think it's a little bit more the opposite, that they got all these social infrastructures and then kind of let religion go like a balloon, like, well, it just floated away, we don't need it anymore?
So I would argue that it is the detachment from religion and government that allows these societies to thrive in the way that they do. It's not even that they don't have a religious population. It is very specifically that it tends to be that when the whatever denomination of whatever religion is in control, those people just always get the better treatment, and it cycles down just how close are you to that main religion. You know, the further away you are, the less of an other, or the more of an other you are going to become. And so the United States is a good example. We are a secular government, and yet the vast majority of our population that came over here was a Puritan Protestant religion. And so although we hold, I would argue, some of the only next to, like you said, maybe Afghanistan and certain religious ISIS, we hold some of the most fundamentalist views of any country, and yet the deistic secular values, the people who actually founded this country, protected us in a way in which we are able to, I would say, have the values that we like to label Western, or whatever you want to call it. To me, it is really just removing religion from government. I mean, wherever you put the fundies, they're not big fans of women, the LGBTQ, and minorities. I know that's a lot, but yes.
Well, see, I'm wondering, it seems like the United States might be a little bit odd because the religious, I'd say a lot of the religious Christians in America seem to withhold and like actively work against social infrastructure type politics. And so like they're active, but do you think other religions around the world are also doing that?
Well, it's difficult because, we live in a and again, I would even argue that I am a capitalist to some degree, but we live in a society in which pain and suffering gets translated into you're stupid, unworthy, or lazy. And so it bothers me immensely, the hypocrisy that I would assume their own prophets themselves would not be happy with the fact that they push for against every social L or welfare that would otherwise help their fellow citizens. And so it is this weird thing in America. They have seemed to solve a lot of this, as he said, in other countries like Sweden and Norway, where they seem to understand that if you help the entire country, you actually lift all boats. Because it's not interpreted. It's interpreted in a weird way. When I defend healthcare for all here, the number one argument I get is go get a job, commie. Go pay for your own health insurance. And it's like, but I have a job and I have state health insurance and it's the best health insurance. It's from this emotion that many humans have that we call empathy. And so it is this weird thing that it's just from a different dichotomy. I wish that fraction of the religion would wisen up, because oftentimes the healthcare and the benefits that we are fighting for really end up benefiting them the most.
Taco, do you have thoughts on this? I've never asked you.
Re-clarify that now, because Amy went for a little while, and I need to hear the question.
Sorry, I do rant. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I just need a little clarification.
Yeah, when we ask countries around the world, are your needs met in life? The religious countries tend to, surprise, tend to do the worst and say, no, our needs are not really well met.
Oh.
And religious and secular countries, like especially the Nordic countries, but even other ones, tend to say, yeah, like they score much higher and that their needs are met. And so I'm wondering, do you think that those countries cast off religion and then were able to achieve that whatever social infrastructures to improve their lives? Or was it the opposite, that they got their lives improved in many ways, and then we're able to let religion go?
I mean, I'm not sure on that, to be honest with you, because the first real laws we have were secular laws, and the first moral code we have is secular moral code.
I think a lot of what
going back in time, looking at civilizations, the first codes were secular. I think that religious people just borrow from our worldview and and they did it a long time ago, and they've just been throwing out a worldview body double for 10,000 years. That's not really even a worldview body double, other than the morality they steal from us.
Sure. I think maybe what the core of this question is getting to is how much are people really using religion as a support structure, especially in developing countries, versus it actually actively oppressing them and holding them back from those same, things in life.
Well, they all claim it's a support structure. I don't know if that actually works like that, but they all claim it.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any convincing them otherwise in a lot of cases, though, right? You talk to a Christian in the U.S., they're going to say that the U.S. is a Christian nation, right? Even though it's explicitly got separation of church and state.
Can I push back on that a little bit? Just because I've talked to some religious people from developing countries, and a lot of them have actually admitted, you know what, I would have loved to get counseling and therapy when this and this trauma happened to me when I was younger, but we don't have that. I had to, but thankfully, I had a religious Christian group at church who really talked me through this and gave me the hope, meaning, and purpose, and helped me whatever forgive and move past it and process trauma and whatever. Do you think that that could be the case in some areas, or do you think it's more something that's holding us back? And us, I mean, I don't mean the U.S. I just mean, all countries. How much are we having to rely on? How much are they having to rely on religion versus how much is it actually benefiting some people?
I just don't see how saying that a God thing has connected with them in a way that nobody can tell and has come inside of them makes anything better in the real world, right? Like, how can a God thing coming inside of you make you that but not being real, just like the statement thing of it? How could that make anything better? I don't get it. I think it's holding us back. I think religion needs to be eliminated through education over the next 100 years. I think it needs to be taught as fairy tales or mythology.
And in fact, I would argue that religious counseling is not the direction that we should go. I would say that we can't deny religious counseling. I mean, if religious people want to send their children to those type of services, fine. But there is a reason that should be separated from counseling. It shouldn't be atheist counseling. It should be, I hate to even use the word secular, because secular just means it lacks one way or the other. It should just be counseling. It should be about figuring out what the situation is. It shouldn't be figuring out the situation and you and God. And so it helps when you actually have removed a variable. You want it to be as simple as possible so that you have the actual answer. Because if you put in certain situations, is this person LGBTQ? Is this person having sex out of wedlock? Is this person doing insert? Because now you have to frame it under, again, this religious influence. I'll put one more time that asterisk. It doesn't mean that, okay, well, now we should go and ban churches from being able to have their version of counseling. It just means we must have those services available. And I'd argue the vast majority of data would show that by having just those services without any sort of underlying pressure is always going to get better results.
Oh, for sure. I think.
And real fast, there are a couple super chats, so you can keep talking, but I'm going to call those out on my screen real fast because I need addresses. But just let you know.
Okay.
So you want to do the super chats?
Oh, I am. I would just let you know because I was going to be quiet for a second.
So what did you think about that, CJ?
Yeah, no, what you said, I definitely agree. Like, if given the choice between religious counseling and some sort of actual medical therapy, no doubt, obviously the medical grade of therapy is going to benefit. But I do wonder when some people, like I've had religious people, very fundamentalist religious people from developing countries say, I kind of wish I could have got that therapy or healthcare or education or what have you, but our country doesn't have that. And so I had to rely on the religious, what have you, the religious counselor, the religious education camp, or what, I don't know, whatever it is. It's usually something through that organization, that religion, which tacks on a bunch of, woo-woo supernatural claims to it. But I have trouble arguing, well, you shouldn't have opted for that anyway, when that was really their only choice they're kind of grabbing at anything.
Sure. Well, that is a hard situation because, yes, it's easy for us to sit here when we do have that and tell that person, don't do it just because, well, we're trying to convince the world not to be less religious means you need to suffer about, X, Y, and Z, on your own. No, exactly. And so it's not that those services shouldn't exist. It's not that the people shouldn't use those services. It's that we have to. It is about leaders. It is about the people in charge of the country, because those are the ones that, from top down to bottom, are, I would say, not always, but a lot of times, they're not even allowing those types of services. And so, yes, there has to be change and reform, and eventually separation and decoupling from religion and government, no matter which religion.
Yeah, and in the U.S., it seems to be a weird place, because you should have all the keys to doing that.
This is a very weird country, because it truly was, like I said, for all of the sins there were sins that our founders had, they did have a lot of brilliance in creating a lot of our Constitution and founding documents, and it was maybe not the first of it of any of its kind, but definitely the first of its modern kind, inspired many other countries and really set off a lot of other secular governments. France comes to mind. And yet we have this population that, some of the religious denominations, I was joking the other day, we're the only group of people that has an acceptable cult. That acceptable cult is the Amish. And we accept them because they make great furniture. They make great furniture, they have great food, and yet they live in a world in which electricity does not exist, dictated by God. Again, make a great bed, but so yeah, this is a weird country.
What do you mean by accept them?
Oh, if you come to Pennsylvania, it's just a part of life. They are just the Amish. You're going to Amish country. We have to go to Hershey Park. We're going through. They have many stores opened up in many different locations, and they're only opened oftentimes on very specific days of the week, and random days of the week, like a Monday and a Thursday. And when they're open, they are packed with people, and so they are in some ways looked up to. I would say the Mormons, although they don't know it, don't exactly. I would say the Scientologists, although they know it, are both looked at as cults. But the Amish, they're kind of playful. They're cuddly. Kinda. They're a cult, and they are still bitter towards LGBTQ people. They still ostracize people horribly. And yeah.
Like the shunning?
Oh, absolutely. It is truly fascinating. My biggest gripe, I guess I could rant about them, is that they picked a very random time. Like to us, they live like old-timey, but they don't. They live like 1800s people. They live like exactly right before the light got turned on. So they actually have access to a whole bunch of different technology. It's just they seem so far into us because they're like, no, light bulbs, evil. It's like, okay. I still buy their furniture and their food. I'm just saying.
Because it's somewhat related, I want to bring up something Mango said, where Mango Man said, I don't want to lead people to lie to themselves all the time. Believe me, I fully agree. The problem with that I have is when I'm doing sort of like a street epistemology thing with somebody, and the first thing I ask them, so where would you be, without this religion, just to see some of them, sometimes I'll get somebody say, I would be back shooting heroin. And it's like, okay, I don't really want to convince you of anything else. Then just keep living your life as long as you're not hurting somebody. I'm worried about arguing them out of something that they believe if that's the first thing that comes into their head. Especially when they say, well, all I had was a church to lead me out of that heroin addiction. And it's like, oof,
Yes. Not only would I agree with you in that specific example, but insert whatever drug that you want. I could up your game, and I bet you have heard this before. I would be out killing, doing horrible other blah 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 things if it wasn't for God. And then you listen to this and you go, well, I guess keep believing in God. Thanks for this conversation.
Yeah, that part I think people kind of exaggerate, and it's what they're told, unless they happen to be a sociopath.
Yes, no,
But I find most
exactly.
sociopaths are not. They're it's a little different. But I do find some people say, "Listen, I was on the street. I was suicide, self-harm, whatever." And it's all about self-harm, and that's where I'm not. I tend to be very hands-off.
No, is it so? There are people that, like you said, whether they are being hyperbolic because they're trying to make a point, or there really was, and I'm trying to think how to word this, but God never finds you when you're having a good time. No one ever wins. Well, they may thank God when they win $1 million, but after that, they seem to be pretty okay. The billionaires don't seem to. But when you're in your lowest moment, that is when they seem to find you. And so whether it is some sort of horrible addiction, I find that these type of services, like we were just talking about, they are who they want to find.
They would argue that's where we save them.
It's where we say, oh, well, indeed. And maybe they do help some people. I think they're talking save in two different ways there. I'd argue, think groups like AA really don't have that great of a turnout rate. But even if you are one of the success rates, that's fantastic. But it is just odd that while we're trying to not focus on drugs, that we have to pledge to a higher power.
Yeah, that's where you see the insidious agenda kind of pop up, which it usually does at some point.
Yes, exactly. Well, my joke is they Xenu you. This is they're not going to tell you that on page 1. They're not going to tell you that while you're sipping coffee and having, a scone. But, maybe halfway, maybe 2/3 through the way, God seems to come up.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, I'll let you guys go.
They're
Thanks
gonna
for
Xenu you.
Yeah. Thank you. CJ, just any final thoughts?
No, it's just these are interesting topics I like to kind of mull over. Yeah, thank you guys for your thoughts.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you all later.
Yeah,
thanks for coming up, CJ. Good seeing you, man. Looks like we got another person, Blue. What's up, Blue? I pulled you up.
Hi, Blue.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing all right. What's going on?
Okay, yeah, I figured I'd just chat since no one else is coming up. Okay, so I wanted to ask, so are you both theists?
No, we're atheists. We're saving the theists.
Ah, okay, great. So I just want to ask, why exactly do you want to save the theists?
Why or?
Yeah. Why do you want to help us?
Oh, to
help
make the
us
world a
save
better
us?
place.
I'll let you go first, Taco. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
to make the world a better place.
Okay. Would you say that you're like above theists?
No.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's equal.
Everyone? Okay.
Everyone, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's Taco. How about you, Amy?
Sure. So I would first of all agree with everything that Taco just said. Everyone should be equal, not only under the law, but we are brothers and sisters, all related, coming from the same tree of life. I would argue that the reason that we're doing this is because I believe that theism is, as a superstition, a social ill. And I believe that although it has some qualities that could be good, many qualities that are benign, I would argue it has some qualities that I would view as evil. And it is because of that, not because of the people who created them are evil, but because of the social baggage of thousands of years. You get these types of moralities that are harmful to the people that it continues to judge, almost from the dead.
Okay, so you would say you disagree with it, and it's like a social illness. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say we would be better off with religion out of power in, I would argue, every single country. And then I would argue it would be better if we were able to intellectually convince through discussion or debate every one of our citizens to not be a theist.
You're saying it's a lot of people just believe in this, and it's like highly negative for society. Is that correct?
Highly negative for LGBTQ, women, minorities. It just happens to be happenstance due to the religions, very specifically from the frameworks of the social situations in which they were raised. I don't blame them. What I blame is the people thousands of years ago, often the leaders who actually know better, who are still continuing to use it because they can have power.
Now, sorry, aren't you trans, and don't you work like really closely with children? Is that correct? I forget.
I do. I am indeed. I am a.
You don't find that a problem though, right?
No, I do not. I
like
find
for example, I think
it
that's a social
amoral.
illness. I think that's like completely disgusting, and we should probably do something with you personally. But
why?
You think that's okay, right? So I'm gonna take
this
religious
is the only
advice.
warning you're gonna get. Come on.
Yeah, I don't care. Hang on. Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Here's
So,
the
anyways,
problem.
I'm gonna take religious advice from a
hold on.
loser and a tranny.
Hold
Is that correct?
No. Hold on, Taco. The problem
he said a slur. I actually have to mute him.
Okay, well, hold on. Come back up here. Okay.
I actually have to mute him, Amy. He said a slur on the server.
Mute, but can't he be up here and muted?
I guess he can be up here and muted if he wants to be up here and muted. That
I can't help it.
I doubt he's going to accept
Here's
it, though.
The problem.
The
problem is
muted coming up here.
And I guess if you've seen my channel, you know I ran on this a lot. I've been transgender for almost 20 years, and I have been told over and over, don't talk about it. It's identity politics. I get told from my own mom, you don't need to tell anybody. Why does that never needs to be told the topic? And can I tell you, over the 20 years, me not talking about it has made them, for whatever reason, actually it's from their handlers. They think
talk about it. It's just he used a slur, right?
I get you. It's the I have to at least talk about it because, like, being transgender is not something I control. It is just who I am. It was who I discovered I was. I was able to get past gender dysphoria. I teach children on the spectrum. They are amazing individuals. Some of them are the smartest people I have ever met. And so they have a variety of different social issues. However, through me and the team, because we work in self-contained, me and my aides, we are able to help them get the educational requirements that they should have at their grade level. They do the exact same work in just a different format as the general education population. And I am proud of them. And we should be. I mean, it's just numerous issues. Can I also point, let's pivot from another thing. Vaccines don't cause autism, and Tylenol doesn't cause autism. It is, and oh my, I can't believe I have to say this. Thank you, RFK Jr. Circumcision doesn't also cause autism. I feel like they are just seriously, they are reaching for whatever they can get and are trying to blame it. Children and adults on the spectrum don't need to be cured. That's not how it works. I don't even know what this timeline is anymore. Anyway, I felt like we were having...
You feel better now?
Yeah, a little bit. Now? I mean, it's just they get so emotional. They reach for the transgender thing, the gender thing, when they think they've hit a wall somewhere. And I feel bad because we could have figured whatever it is out. And even if you disagreed with me about the gender or children or any of this stuff, we could talk about it because that's how adults work things out in society.
Yeah, I don't get why people are just so randomly hateful, right? Like he's up here having a conversation, and all of a sudden he's got to bring out the hate, right? And it's always Christian people bringing out the hate, right?
And not to get too political, but like transgender and illegal is the new Jew. All they need to do is say either of those two words, and the best combination is both of those words. And you can derail almost any issue. Not to date this podcast, but the government shut down because, you know, it's somehow legals are getting health insurance, but they're actually illegals. All right. Anyway, now I'm getting into the political realm, but they begged me for years not to talk about identity politics.
We'll give you another chance, Blue. Let's not bring in any hate speech.
Sure. You mentioned earlier, and I apologize that was a slip of the tongue. You mentioned earlier that the parents are concerned more than the students, or the students started asking you about the transgender stuff as well. Why are the parents going to your school and asking about you? Why are they doing that if everything's fine?
No. Online, on the internet. No one talks about it in my real life. I mean, the people on the media. No, why?
I said in school.
Why? No. I said my mother tells me to never talk about that subject. And I said through not trying to talk about identity politics for the past 20 years, the media, the internet, you get this sort of reaction. So by me not talking about it, it is somehow actually... Do I live with my mother? No, I haven't lived with my mother in over almost 20 years.
Has the school ever talked to you about your gender?
No.
Have any parents been concerned and asked? Okay. What do the kids say when they see a grown man in a dress trying to teach them about stuff?
They say, "Hello, Miss Newman."
But you're not a female.
Oh, I see. This is what I mean. It's an emotional thing. It's that you want to say, "How dare they call you Miss?" But that's not a big thing. It hasn't been a big thing for me for 20 years because I am trying to teach them how to do basic addition, multiplication. It is their first time measuring, being able to count time.
Why don't you just wear like regular guy clothes when you do that?
Because
why do you
I like the clothes that you know what? I'm quoting another comedian. They are not women's clothes. They're my clothes. I paid for them.
Okay. I see. Interesting. Wow. Okay, that's a lot to think about. How about you, Taco? I mean, what do you think about this?
I don't know enough about the topic to.
Would you? Sure. Sorry, may I ask?
I think everybody should be equal, and I support everybody to have the
so
ability to live a normal life.
Like, would you send your kids to school?
Nonsense.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you send your kids to school if the teacher was transgender?
Yeah.
How about babysitting?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
What was that? What was that pause you did there for a second?
I say a lot.
Okay. I don't. Okay, cool. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you just hear what you just said there? You just said I don't say a lot. I mean, is thinking. I was about to defend Taco, not that he defends himself, but okay, continue. Please just continue.
Okay. That was weird. Okay, anyways, so what I wanted to say was I feel like it is strange, and most parents probably wouldn't agree with it. I think that's also common with theists. So atheists commonly agree with the LGBT. I think your religion is the LGBT. So like sucking dick.
Can I tell you
same thing to say.
But isn't it weird that we weren't talking? Can I be honest? You're the first one. If we measured, if we had like a pie chart or a graph of who talked about sucking up dick, you'd actually be the winner. I guess now I'm in second place. But it's just interesting that of all the people that brought up gender, it's you.
Sure. Okay. Can I just ask Taco one follow-up question as well?
Sure.
Taco, are you? I mean, do you think trans women are women?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Would you date one?
Probably not.
Well, what do you mean? They're women. You don't
No.
date women?
That is okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, I got
ding
him.
dong's not my thing.
But you just said they're women. So what's the difference?
Yeah, but the genetic aspect of it.
So I don't get it. Are they women or are they not women?
Yeah, if they want to be called women, why wouldn't you call them women?
Okay, but you accept them as women. You think that they should like use
I
women's
don't
restrooms?
know the exact sociological distinctions and the correct terminology to use here. I'm explaining this to you the best I can.
Okay, you don't sound very smart. I don't think you should be up here.
See,
should we get somebody else here?
No. Well, what he's trying to say to you is that it does not pick his pocket to call someone or break his bones to call someone the gender that they identify as. And I'm sorry, we do that all the time. People arbitrarily just say, I don't like their hair color. I don't like how I like them tall. I like them small. I like seriously, what he said was perfectly fine. Taco would be respectful to every single person. He is not obligated to date every single person.
If somebody doesn't want to date you, Amy, because you're a trans woman, is that okay?
Yeah, there we go. Yes.
Okay. Would that? Okay, great. So, if they date you, are they still straight? Like if a man is dating you?
That would be up to them. I would classify them between straight and bisexual. I think that there's actually a spectrum of sexuality, and I think they would be what I call heteroflexible. They are into feminine people. That is,
I think you shouldn't be around children, honestly. But okay, so Taco, would you agree?
Open that conversation. No. You made a claim. Why don't you think I should be around children?
I think you're a mentally ill man in a dress.
Okay. What's your definition of mentally ill?
You.
see, this is what I mean. You. Is that a good definition? Welcome. I got my degree in psychology. Mental illness is you.
Do you have your degree in psychology?
No, I have a degree. I have an associate's in graphic design, a bachelor's in visual film. I have a bachelor's in game development. I have a master's in information technology, and I have a master's in educational technology.
Okay, so nothing to do with teaching, yeah?
A master's of education in educational technology. I am also certified as a special ed teacher within my state.
Okay. You have some certification. I guess they give those to anybody. Okay.
No, you have to pass exams. You have to pass classes. You have to go to school.
Okay, great. And how would you say you're like? Do the students like you, or do they think you're weird?
Yes.
They make fun of you. They throw stuff at you.
They're on the spectrum. You are exactly the opposite of the type of kids. My kids they don't have that type of emotional embarrassment. They just are who they are. They don't judge people. And I'm sure there are people on the spectrum that judge people, but this mean girls bullshit that you're trying to pull, no, they are not like that.
Okay. I think maybe, would you say you're on the spectrum?
I am not. I have ADHD. I am neurodiverse. I think I am very sympathetic to children on the spectrum, and yet I am not.
I think you don't work at a school. I think you go to a mental hospital and talk to like your doctor, and you think they're students.
Well, someone's signing
I feel like you're one of those
paycheck.
people that probably just like escaped the mental hospital.
Okay, I mean it's just ad hominems. I feel like I've been really reasonable.
I'll stop the nonsense,
I fought to have you on here and actually have a conversation with me.
Okay, Amy, me and you both know it's weird for you to be around kids and teaching kids. You don't have everything together.
No, I think what you do is the religious are obsessed with sexuality. I'm sorry.
But you guys are religious too, but you're just religious about the LGBT.
LGBTQ is not a religion. It was
It is
us
to you guys.
banding together because politically and socially, to go back on topic, the religious keep on coming after us.
But we wouldn't come after you if you weren't coming after the kids.
Do you notice? At least you
Mhm.
admit it. Thank you. It's just nice to hear you say, but this is why, because you're admitting it. You know, you just don't like LGBTQ.
Yeah, of course. We think
It
you're sick
actually-
freaks. We
yeah.
don't like you.
I mean, to be honest, your holy book says stone us to death. You're almost being nice, right? You're not stoning me to death on,
Yeah, laws are in place against that, unfortunately. But,
Unfortunately.
yeah,
Do you notice that the
unfortunately,
This
sadness
is
no.
in
what
your
they
heart?
do.
I know, exactly. They want to murder, and I give a warning out there. It's not just the LGBTQ. Like, he's
Mhm.
not just the trans. It's all of the people that they dislike.
Well, we don't want you near kids. I mean, that's something I think most of the world would agree on.
Okay, but how about this? Do you think it should be allowed for?
I think even
parents?
Indians, like Hinduism, would. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
I don't think they have the same sort of baggage.
I
I'm
think
not
they
really
do. I
a
think
big.
Indians even hate you. Yeah.
Yeah, even in okay.
Yeah,
don't
like
you bring-
90. I would say 99.2% of the
You
world
have
hates you.
you have a
Obi-Wan too.
99.2. That's
You heard me.
amazing.
I said it.
Okay, I bet you have a source for that, right?
I do.
I do. Is it called ImadeiTup.com?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. Oh my
All right. So you're
goodness.
saying, but hey, at least this is entertainment. Like when I'm up here, we're actually having interesting topics,
Yeah,
like in debates.
I
It was super
like
boring
it
before I got
back
up
and
here.
forth. I
Yeah.
think we had some good conversations.
No, that was boring. It was a snooze fest. Everyone was leaving.
Mhm.
All right. Anyways, now everyone's coming back in.
Listen.
You're welcome, Taco. Okay. Sorry, you were saying, Amy?
Okay.
What I'm saying is that there's a reason that I'm an
And
anti-theist.
one of the guys in my audience submitted a super chat saying you're evil according to Jesus.
I
Who, me?
agree. I agree, actually.
Correct.
Who said that?
I think it was Martin Goldstein. Yeah, Martin Goldstein, the guy who made my
Martin
intro song.
Goldstein. Yeah, okay, we know each other. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. All right, thanks, Martin. He's a friend of mine. We're just joking. Okay, cool.
He paid money to make a joke. In that case, thank you for the donation.
Yeah, thank you for the donation, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Because I tried this. This is what I was saying about the 20 years thing. It's not up to me anymore to stop being obsessed with transgender.
Sorry, wait, where's
It
this
is
being
when-
streamed, Taco? So sorry to interrupt you.
To his stream and my stream.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand. But anyway, the only way they're going to get over trans, gay, doesn't matter what version of the LGBTQ, the versions of misogyny and treating others, minorities, poorly, the only way we're going to get rid of it is by one simple fact: getting rid of religion. Welcome, Noted.
Hi guys, I can't hear you guys so well, so excuse me if I like kind of ask you to repeat. Something is wrong with my audio directing from the speaker to input. I'm on my phone. But Amy, Mike, I've just been hearing you talking on like, okay, I understand that you're upset that there's a majority of Christians that are actively against LGBTQ. Right, but like at the end of the day, the core of Christianity is that is to love one another, right? So it's like you're trying to eradicate Christianity in its entirety, and what I'm trying to tell you is that you should not do that, because we've seen what Christianity has done for America. We've seen the standard of good, you know. So I'm curious, like, is there any problem with you? What is the problem with Christianity?
Yeah.
Why are you trying so
Very
hard to eradicate it?
That's a good question. I would say, first of all, if you are a good person and you have framed it through Christianity and you've just spent your whole life doing good, then I'm happy for that. Whatever medium it took to get there. I will say The reason that we're trying to get rid of Christianity and all the other religions is because we don't think that they're true. And it's not that we think that Jesus was a bad person. I mean, I'm sure there are actually things that I could go through the list that Jesus said that I would agree with. At the end of the day, even if he said all of these good things, but it was tied to, I am the son of a God, I am a God, I committed miracles, blah, 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 we're always going to oppose that because it's not about the morality. It's about it being literally true. And again, I like Jesus going around as far as prophets go, because I'm not really a big fan of prophets, the entire notion. But as far as prophets go, okay, he says some good things, love everyone, love your neighbor. Cool. I like that. Trying to think of the quote from Gandhi. I'm very much paraphrasing. I like your Jesus. You Christians are so unlike your Jesus. Something akin to that.
Well, I mean, I think when you say the word truth, it's a very ambiguous statement because, I mean, we have many how I see it is like, what are you trying to say, that Christians are delusional? Or because as far as I see, we are actually, the statistic shows that, you know, we're not delusional. We are grounded in reality more than a lot of people. Like God says, do not do drugs, you know, do not keep a sober mind. Like, we are more grounded. So what is this term of truth that you're using? That why is it, you know, why does it seem so horrific that Christians may have, you know, like, I'm lost. Are you fighting something emotional, or are you fighting something with logic?
Both, I would argue there. But can I tell you, I'm gonna say something that seems like an insult, but hopefully I'll turn it around. Okay, I want to define two things, and you can tell me if you disagree with me. A delusion to me is believing something that does not match reality. Mental illness means that a person cannot function in society or their day-to-day life. That, to me, in a weird way, tells me that you hold a delusion and that you're not mentally ill. Does that make sense? You can actually function. You're a great member of society. You help your family, your loved ones. You watch Netflix. You do what you do. You try to do charity, and you know, and yet there are certain beliefs that I would say Taco and I say specifically that when they divulge from the metaphorical and become literal, they become science questions, and I would hold it to that specific scrutiny. I know that's a lot, but what do you think of that?
I think I think that delusion is something when you're under the influence of like hardcore drugs, or like, you know, I don't think that. I think there's some. I mean, come on, we must admit, like, there is merit to religion. I mean, so
can I pause you before you say that?
I'm very confused to why you would completely think that we need to remove Christianity. Like, I if anything, I would see that it should be more within school systems. It should be, you know, it teaches the world not to be a part of the world. It teaches us to you know, to be humbled. I don't see why you would find Christianity to be so flawed and think that we're delusional. We're not. We are, you know?
There's nothing wrong with being humble. Can I actually point something out? And you could tell me I'm crazy. You can argue if I'm wrong. I believe that Jesus would not call himself God and would not call himself perfect. I think both of those things, because he does seem at least wise in some of the examples. And if he was a wise man in some of the scenarios that he goes through with other people, I don't think he would have claimed that he was either of those things. I think those were created later by his followers. Nonetheless, I want to remove Christianity, again, not through force, because that doesn't work. We've seen through history that it just creates rebellion, resistance, and underground that eventually just wants to rise up and rule again. The only way that we're ever going to truly remove Christianity, quote unquote, is if I and Taco can have these conversations with you and we are convincing enough, and not just us, but basically social media and memes, culture as a society, we're able to remove it. And we're able to say, hey, we're not going to believe in this. Because there's tons of religions that do not exist anymore. And while many of them were removed via the sword or forced convert, some just don't stick around. And so I will say another thing, hardcore drugs, you're right. You can have a delusion through hardcore drugs. Hardcore drugs are, however, not the only way you can have a delusion. Another way to point this out, I know it's a silly example, but to put it like succinctly, I feel bad giving this example. Before I go on, what do you think of that?
I just all I've seen is like, if anything, Christianity has kept, well, in my regard, has kept the freedom of humanity, right? Like, the Crusaders have fought Islam's oppression. We have changed a lot of pagan religions that have sacrificed unrighteously. We have done a lot of things throughout history that can be considered the absolute truth for existence. So I mean, like, the thing is, Amy, is like, I get that you're angry with some Christians who do have this heightened or probably more forceful way of trying to change LGBTQ, right? But like, I think that you're not looking at the core of Christianity, which is that it is nothing like that.
Can I pause you for
like,
1
I
second?
mean, at the end of the day, bro, my hand extends out to everyone who has gender dysphoria. Like, I'm there to help them through life. Like, I'm not here to condemn them. And there's many Christians like me, many Christians like me. So maybe your perspective is a bit pessimistic. Maybe your heart needs to be less hardened by what people have done to you.
So listen, I understand. What I'll first put down, because unfortunately, maybe I do sometimes come off more pessimistic as I get older. I'm generally an optimist, but if I were not LGBTQ, okay, and it's a shame because not a shame, but I'm like 2 or 3 of those letters. Nonetheless, if I were a straight white man, I didn't have any of that. I think I would like to think through my empathy. I'll give you an example. And I know we could disagree. I feel bad almost bringing this up because it makes it political. But, I'm pro-abortion, not because I have a uterus. In fact, I would argue I don't have a uterus. And yet I want to have autonomy for biological women. I feel like in that instance, I should stand up for them. Now, it is sad, I'm going to say, because I feel now I'm bringing more politics in. It's sad that the baby has to die. And I don't know, you don't want me to say fetus or whatever, because it doesn't matter what dies. I get that it's sad. Nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is we could have those emotions you were trying to say. You were trying to push not only being humble, but I would argue empathy and all of these things that your version of Christianity is pushing. I think we should have that. We just don't need Christianity. But the linchpin for me is it's not about me being LGBTQ. Like, it is a important thing. It's something I argue for. I would say most theists that I come across at this point, they say this is why you hate God. They say you hate God. But I mean, in my defense, my co-host on my channel and crime on this podcast is a straight white man. And so, and yet I feel like I have very similar views to both James W., my co-host, and Taco right now.
And there is a question from one of the audience members on my YouTube. They're asking, can a good or loving person go to heaven if they completely and utterly reject Christ as Lord and Savior?
The problem is it's not about like
question.
Okay, so the way this question is answered is that like the problem is that God cannot be all loving and all just, right? There has to be a balance, right? And the thing is like the way I look at it is that if you don't believe in the Son of God, if you don't believe that He has given you redemption for your wrongdoings, then you're not gonna please God. There's no, you understand? There's no what it really means is that it's more justice for God than it is for our understanding. So by accepting Christ, you're basically giving God the justification, right? Because only something that is immaculate, only something that is perfect can please God for your wrongdoings. Because you're gonna always be in a perpetual state of sin. You're never gonna be good enough. And so God basically, this is who God's nature is, and He's shown us the way out, and He's shown us an understanding for our determinism. And when it's not a matter of our understanding, it's a matter of pleasing God, right? It's a matter of giving justice for God, and actually I hold the same understanding as well. So like a person who does good deeds, it's all fleeting. It goes with the wind. No one is gonna remember. Like it's more like this life is more between you and God than it is within society. And so the only way to God, to please God, the only way that you can justify your wrongdoings, atone for your sins, is through perfection itself. That is good enough for God, and He's given you a way to have this on a system, right? And He has still your free will is still right bound. It's not removed. You're still able to go about doing as you please. But this is how it is, and there's no other way. And so I think that if you do not accept Christ as your savior, you're not going to justify. There's not going to be any justice for God. And in essence, by rejecting His Son, which has so much, there's so much historical evidence, so much. It's changed the course of history. It's like it's too overwhelming to not think twice about Christ. And I think once you reject Christ, once you reject the Son, you reject the Father. And so I think there's no way to God but through the Son, through forgiveness of your sins, because it's just how God's nature is, and I understand. I hope I explained it well enough. I kind of joined here very suddenly, so
And Cutlery Duck said, anyone notice how the most hateful people are always the ones with the most opinions and the least knowledge? That's a pretty valid point. Not that you're too hateful, noted. You're generally pretty chill.
Well, thank you, Taco, for that, man. But I think, everyone is always
rooms with like trans women and gay dudes that you go into that you hit on. Like, I know you're not hateful and you love everybody.
Yeah, no, I accept everyone, bro. Like, I'm not. There's some people who kind of like they try to find more purpose in trying to condemn people and stuff, and it's more of the ego than it is of who God is, right? And I'm not that person. I know God would want me to bring the gender dysphoria, to kind of bring people to the light and not push them away from the light, and that's my calling, right? And people should align with that and not try to get this false pride and this to bring down and condemn people to make them feel more righteous. I think it's, you have to forgive people. Christ says, forgive them for they do not know. You have to forgive the Christians who are also has evil intentions. Some of them are blind, right? But at the end of the day, we're all infallible. We're all human, and but I think Christ is the core to everything, and I think that his light is trying to pull you in, and where the more you reject it is the more you're gonna live for the world, and it's not satisfying because it's all fleeting and we die. As sad as it sounds. So you have
they are so
I
nihilistic.
think with Christ
Oddly,
you
I
have
don't
true
know.
purpose, and you understand your purpose on earth. And so yeah, I don't hate anyone. There's times where how can I hate anyone if I'm innately flawed? Like it's not sound-minded. It's not. And God, this is what Christ was teaching us as well. To not judge others, right? For we will be judged, right? And
Can I?
so yeah, Amy, I think I'm sorry that you had to deal with a lot of hateful Christians. I'm here to accept you for who you are, and
Well,
I'm
thank
telling
you,
you that
noted.
Christ wants to have a relationship with you, and it's okay. We all have our sins, we all have our weight, but I just want you to be at peace. And I think if the world does not give you that, at least Christ can. At least the Son of God, or God who entered the flesh, who humbled himself, can give you that peace. Right? There's no other religion like that where God has entered the flesh for you to show you the way. So yeah, Amy, I'm sorry.
No, so I appreciate that, and thank you. It does make me feel better to know there are sympathetic, empathetic Christians out there. It is just two separations, because at one, side, I would say I would fight to the death to defend your right to have the ability to have your religion. I think that is as important as me being able to have no religion. And so on that, I would, we would be on the same side. I would say it's more just the intellectual domain. It's not that I want to be like, go mwah ha ha ha, we must get rid of all the religious people. It's that to us, it's just outdated technology. And yes, sometimes in outdated technology, there were still things that were either useful. Some of them still useful now. I mean, I guess be nice to your neighbor is, I believe, is always going to be good advice. But, some of the old advice fuels the people who have hate in their hearts. And so, it's trying to rebut that. I guess you and I can, Taco and I are going to probably continue to try and convince people not to be theists, but all three of us can work together to, the word is bigot, but I like to add emphasis to the people who think I'm being politically correct and not to be too foul-mouthed. But if you're being an ass, a dick, if you're being rude or unkind to someone, we could say bigoted, but then I think all three of us would agree, and dare I say, probably Jesus would also be against them.
Yeah.
I think Jesus would be against all of the Christian religion.
I would so much agree. The Christian religion that I think ended up happening throughout most of the gospel, I think, is drastically different from probably what Jesus, if he existed as a rabbi, probably was teaching. I like I said, noted, some of the nicer things are good teachings, but there's a lot of baggage by, unfortunately, your brothers and sisters. So again, they're not you.
They say love everybody. Christ is about loving everybody, and then Blue comes up here and shit talks trans people, right? Like that's like what we're doing.
You know what, Taco? You may think this sounds delusional, but it's the ones that are closer to God, is the ones that are being, have the authorities at play, right? These are the ones that are being, their thoughts are being sourced from other places as well. Like the Christians are gonna be tempted. They're gonna be more,
Well, and not to armchair psychologize, but the people who attack me, and I imagine, okay, I'm just empathizing here, the racists that say things to minorities, you can feel the hate in like their speech and their tone, and it's almost visceral, and so it's almost more a them problem than a me problem. There's almost nothing I can do but sometimes listen to what is underlying that. And I imagine the same is true, unfortunately, for a racist.
Well, I don't know what to say. I just think that, like,
Sure,
I think
because we agree
we're
and
all
disagree.
flawed. All of us, all of us are flawed, and like, like we should just align with the absolute truth.
Noted. Would you want to be a racist?
If I want to be a racist,
Yeah. Do you want to be a racist?
no,
Why not?
because I believe we're all made in God's image, and racism is what it comes from. It comes from the ego. It comes from, it's yeah, man. Like the Bible of Christ. One of the reasons Christ, one of his messages was to bring the Jews and Gentiles together. Like, it's inherently against racism. So for me to be racist is like I can't align with God, and also like it just feels wrong. And that's how I know I have the Holy Spirit. So I mean, yeah, bro, there's no way I would want to be racist. No way. Like I have so many different friends. I live on an island, so like I have many different friends. So it's like, it's not a problem. I know. I mean, hey, it's not a problem, but in America,
Then
I
you
know
should
it's.
be an atheist.
Bro, let's not go there, bro. Like, but Taco, you have to remember too.
That's what
Not
we're here
all
for.
atheists are like are good people. Some of them actually. Well, what I mean by that is some atheists reject the LGBTQ too. No, it's not only Christians as well. They reject that for their children and so on. Like,
Sure.
we have to look at the world as the world, right?
But noted,
not just.
what I would argue is, yes, I agree with you. Just take it back one more. Unfortunately, humans can be evil. I would argue, and maybe this is to go back, this is the optimist in me. I actually think most humans are good. I think that most humans are good for a bunch of biological, genetic, and environmental issues. But whether it's that or you thinking that it comes from God, I actually think that it is actually more intuitive for humans when they see someone in pain, that unless they're not in shock, there is like a culture shock, everyone staring kind of thing, but isolated, just when you're seeing someone in pain, we generally want to help that person.
Of course. I mean, of course, there's the psychological, understanding, right? But like, the thing is, what about the intention? So like someone, yes, we have the calling to help people just by our human nature, but like the stronger drive would come from an external source, which is God, which is we're more we're more likely to want to help if we know God is watching or we know who God is, rather than leaving it fully on the merit of society. So I believe that Christians we're more likely willing to do good than someone who does not fear God or someone who does not, So I understand your point, but this is why I also never, like, I'm trying to logically describe Christianity here, So
Can
I see the good in Christianity, right?
Can I just say though, I want to push back, but only in the reverse, that you have something right. It's just, I think you're blaming it for the wrong source. It's that there is good in humanity, and you see people doing good, and I think sometimes religion tries to take credit for it, but I think noted, with or without Christianity existing, I think you would be a good person. I think this is who you would be. And you might be preaching very similar values. It just wouldn't be framed under the Christian label.
Oh, I appreciate that, Amy. I appreciate that, but I wish this was more. I wish this was about the world. My belief in Christian is because it's above the world, right? And I've seen. I know the worth that I have is not sourced from nucleotides. I believe the worth I have is sourced from something greater than the world. And there's nothing that will take me away from God, and I've known His love since I was young. And what I mean by this is, I feel loved by something that is not a limited object. I feel loved by something that is all powerful. Something that So I don't know what to say to you, bro. But like, I think like, I guess what I was saying is like, being a Christian is not just about indoctrination. It's more than that. And I hope hopefully one day you'll come to realize that. Hopefully one day you soften your heart. But bro, I think we spoke well. I don't think I want to go down any more lines because I wanted to talk a little bit about some scientific.
You want to talk about some science with us?
No. Well, I mean, I honestly not. I mean, I just wanted to join in and just kind of like talk to Amy a bit about the situation. Well, like Taco right now. It's not my time, It's not my time yet to engage in the more empirical understanding.
He just wanted to come in and say there are Christians out there that are empathetic to transgender people, minorities, and yeah.
Yes, yeah, Amy. Honestly, bro, like, honestly, Amy, like,
it's okay. I get you noted. Yeah. Sending that love back.
But yeah, guys, I gotta go. But
do you want to try to prove the Christian God with quantum physics or something real fast?
No. Taco, we'll have a discussion about this another time for sure, bro.
Okay,
for sure.
Hurts to ask.
For sure. But all right, guys, it was nice talking, Amy, and God bless, and we'll talk again, man, for sure.
Thank you, guys. Noted. Have a good day or night.
Take it easy, noted. Have a good one, my brother in atheism.
Peace, bro.
I don't know. Blue's got their hand back up. Do you want them back up here?
I go back and forth, Taco. I wear the label politically incorrect very proudly because I feel like half of the things that they throw at me is actually just them being emotional. And Blue, I'm not even going to say, I do think the original outburst, but we almost had a good conversation. I wish... Don't make me regret it. Yeah, let's try it. But because I'll tell you what has not worked, Taco. Me avoiding
All right, real fast, Blue. You hear this? Amy has your back here and is giving you the benefit of the doubt. So don't abuse that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can we have just a normal conversation without any hatred towards people groups?
Sure, no problem. Actually, I had a weird mute on my account. That's why I wanted to come up here. But yeah, I can have a conversation since I'm up here now.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't talk in any other VCs for whatever reason, and I couldn't like unmute myself, but it wasn't like a server mute, so I think it should be cleared now. But anyways, did you say Noted was in the LGBT VCs? Hitting on people, or did I mishear that?
Yeah, hitting on people, yeah.
Wait, what? Sorry, what? He was hitting on people in the LGBT VC, like men?
I don't know the scope of it.
Well, here's the problem.
I mean, who else is in there?
If you're a transgender woman, you're going to say that if he likes her, that he is now gay. But the problem is the transgender person and he himself probably don't look at it that way. And so...
Well, I don't think it's very Christian of him to do that, but I will be sure to roast Noted when I can. When I get the chance. Thank you for... That is information we did not know about him. Now that we know that, he's pretty much cooked in the server. Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Never forget who you are. The world will not wear it like armor, and it can be never used against you.
True. True, I agree. Okay, so I think with what Noted said, he made a lot of good points, but it was kind of boring. He just kind of talked about nothing. So I'd like to actually talk about like tangible things where we can have fun discussions. So may I ask a few questions? I think Taco, can I start with you?
Sure, why not?
Okay. I guess why are you an atheist? Were you always an atheist?
No, I grew up a Christian. I
Mhm.
believed in a God for a long time, but then I got more educated and just wasn't something that an educated person could maintain, right?
Okay. Was there any experience in your life that made you say, oh, "Okay, I'm an atheist"? Like, did you wear a fedora? Like, what
No,
happened?
no, man. I just none of it really made sense, and so I talked to a person in the church and the pastor, or whatever, and he was sitting down, and I had a conversation with him, and it all seemed like nonsense, and I don't know. I kind of just gravitated towards deism that day.
Okay, I see. Sorry, somebody mentioned me in the side chat. LSF, I get it, you're trans because your profile pic is that of a trans person, but I will not engage with you at the moment. I'm speaking with Taco and Amy, so please wait your turn, you filthy dog. Okay, and
Let's not
Amy, can I...
dehumanize people. That's the only warning you'll get for dehumanizing people. Come on, dude.
Got it. And
You know the server
Amy,
rules.
understood. And Amy, can I ask you the same? Like, why are you an atheist? And was there an event in your life that made you an atheist?
Sure. I'm an atheist, I would say, for two reasons. First, because I was raised in a Jewish family, and although I was sent to a conservative Jewish synagogue, didn't really take for me, cared about basically anything else, but being there was kind of boring, and so I made a deal with my mom, have my bat mitzvah, and it'd be the last Jewish thing I ever had to do. And so we made that pact, and I was allowed to no longer really do anything religious. She was allowed to have her tears that, I was becoming an adult at 13. And then I mostly lived my life, and I didn't really think about it. But in my 20s, the quote unquote, I very severely disliked this label, but the new atheists were coming about, and
Mhm.
it made me think more skeptically about not having a religious position. And the more that I sought it out, and then the more you also see as a reflection. Again, I didn't have any hate come towards my way until I transitioned. But it is
I see.
interesting seeing the religious react to me. I know that they say that would be my main reason. I would actually argue the main reason why I do not believe in God is because there is not enough good evidence, and there's actually good evidence in the opposite direction.
I see what you're saying. Okay, cool. And if I may ask, at what age did you realize that you were, part of the LGBT community?
That was more a slow process. In high school, I met a lesbian who, when I explained my situation, she said, "Oh, you're transgender," and I had never heard that word before, and so I had to look it up, and then it was through basically going through a series of talking with therapists that I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria.
I see.
And yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you get cured of that somehow.
I am. I don't have gender dysphoria. I like my body. It was a slow
Okay.
process, but and not only was it, and I use that word, a process, because I could extend it to honestly anyone, straight individuals, it doesn't matter. Finding and accepting your body. And I know a lot of people are going to hear this and say, well, you didn't accept your body. No, this was my journey, finding who I was. And
Okay, that's enough of the gay shit. Yeah, I'm not trying to hear all that. But what about?
It's
So you
weird.
guys
You use
mentioned.
gay as an insult. I love that gay shit.
You're welcome. I thought you would. Yeah. Just real quick. You mentioned that there was that whole atheist movement, and I think Taco, maybe that's around the time you became an atheist as well. What did you guys think of? Do you remember names like the Amazing Atheist? Do you remember that?
I do. Is this going in the direction of a banana?
Yeah. So he put a banana up his ass. Now, why would I respect a man like this? And why would you?
Can I ask you, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I voted for Trump 3 times.
Do you think he got peed on by a hooker?
No, that was a 4chan troll, and I can't believe CNN.
Oh,
fell for that.
okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Of course. That was
Yes.
he's
yeah,
also
I was literally in the thread.
he's not friendly
and I was
with Epstein, right? He wasn't. He kicked him off the lawn,
I
right?
mean, I don't know their extent of their friendship.
Okay. But you respect him, right? He's friends with one of
100%.
the world's most well-known pedophiles.
Well, I mean, this is before this all happened.
Oh,
Well, look, I took pictures of some people who turned out to be snitches. That doesn't mean I'm a snitch, right?
you turned out. That's what I mean. The joke, every time I
Mhm.
get it, there's a conspiracy theory that he threw Epstein off his lawn, like he's a WWE player, and get out of here, pedophile. Yeah, that
Yeah,
never
yeah,
happened.
no,
That would be
no.
hilarious if that did, but there
I
instead is
don't-
romance
No,
levers.
I
between
think
the
what
two.
happened was, so Epstein came, he got really creepy with the staff, and Trump just kicked him out and banned him from Mar-a-Lago.
Uh-huh.
That's how I understand
Do you
it.
know why? Do you know why? The reason that Trump
Uh-huh.
gives for having a small disagreement with Epstein?
No.
He claimed that Epstein was stealing his girls. Claimed that Epstein was stealing massage people from him.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Trump is, weirdly enough, it's on video. This is what I mean. I don't even know what timeline this is, because the weirdest thing is he says things in public and then we have to argue about it like he doesn't. This isn't
Look,
left. This isn't right.
I get you don't like Trump, but I don't understand what this has to do with the Amazing Atheist.
Shoving a banana, because who cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm actually talking about theism stuff, and you're over here talking about TDS.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't
Was the
yes.
theism stuff the banana in the butthole? Was that the theism part?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess I missed that. Tie that back to theism.
Yeah. So why would you respect this man? You know what I mean? He's. I mean, I see why you would respect him. That makes perfect sense as to how you turned out. But Taco, what about you?
I honestly know nothing about the Amazing Atheist besides what you just told me. Do you think do you think that's a reason to respect somebody because they shove something up their butt?
No, I would say that's the opposite.
No, he was a high-profile atheist, and a video leaked of him having a sexual encounter, and so he's roasting him about it. But it wasn't like the dude uploaded, "Hey, atheist community, here's me putting a banana up my butt." You know what I think is more shameful? Ray Comfort going around the world holding a banana in his hand and saying, "This is the atheist defeater." I guess the Amazing Atheist proves that wrong.
Who did that?
Ray Comfort, Banana Man.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you should look him up. He's a meme factory. He's like a
Oh, that
religious
sounds hilarious.
Alex
Yeah, I probably will.
Jones. Though Alex Jones,
Okay.
I feel, is slowly getting broken. It's so weird.
I think so too. Yeah, something's going on. He's never been the same since that Sandy Hook lawsuit.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, I guess if you lie for a living and then it turns out that school shooter victims are like, "Hey, we actually can prove you wrong."
Okay. But Taco, so was there a major atheist that influenced you? Was it a friend, an uncle? Was it?
Not really. I mean, I watched Godless Engineer, Matt Dillahunty, the all those guys. The what did they call them? The Four Horsemen. I mean, I watched all that stuff, but I mean, I was already moving towards atheism. I kind of just thought through it myself for the most part.
Can I ask you something? And I just want an honest answer, but you don't have to give it to me. You're a grown man. Did you wear fedoras? when that whole movement was going on?
I'm always wearing fedoras
So
all
funny.
day, every day.
What is this?
Okay. Do you think that were you wearing fedoras before you were an atheist? Or is this something atheists do once they convert?
It's
Thank you.
something that atheists do once they convert.
Yeah, actually,
You
what
might
happens is every time that you convert, a fedora salesman actually comes out of thin air and just boom, you got a whole selection in front of you.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, dude.
Okay. So it seems like you have it all together. Yeah, I guess I really don't have much. I think someone else was right. Oh, and he left. But yeah, it seems good. I mean, I don't like you guys. I don't respect you. I think you're both bums. But it is what it is. As long as I'm not muted, I'm happy. Happy to
Oh,
step down.
and B.S. Lewis asks, why did God have chosen people if he wasn't racist?
Well, I think God
question.
has chosen people. Like God has favorites. Like for example, in life, I'm better than you. You know what I mean? Like you're a loser who never did anything.
That's what better people need to say. They need to go around telling other people how better they are.
Well, it's true. I mean, he's overweight. He doesn't have anything going on. You're a trans person. You don't have anything going on. So it's like, yeah, I'm much better than you. In public, like people wouldn't want to even sit next to you.
What? I'm sorry. What do you do for a living again?
I work at the bank.
Okay, I guess that's okay, but that's not. I mean,
Are you like a teller at the bank?
No, investment banking.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's cool. I guess we're just different people, and some people are just better.
some people are just better. I'll be honest with you. Although I don't want to, like, now that you've given a profession, I don't want to knock your profession. Nonetheless, knowing what you do, I would take my job any day because I like waking up and being able to think that I am helping other people. We still need investment bankers. I don't want to make this a me versus you thing.
Yeah, it's debatable, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Thanks, and again, yeah, I just want to be very clear. I don't like either of you. I don't respect you, and I hope bad things do happen to you.
Thank you.
I want to be
everyone,
very clear.
Real quickly before you leave, which religion are you?
Sure. What's that?
Which religion are you?
I'm Jewish.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sponsored by Judaism. Are you a conservative Jew?
I am.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Take whatever pronoun you want, because honestly, that stuff means you need it more than I do. I love you though. I really do. I wanted you up here because we need to have these conversations. It truly does seem to be the only way you guys are going to get it out of your system. And look at that. I even pronouned you correctly, sir. I won't even be sarcastic about it.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to come up here and slap you guys around and make fun of you. Like, this is a hobby. I would love to do this. So please, when you do have like a dead conversation, just ping me. I'll come in and insult you guys. You get more views, get more donations.
So you're really doing us a service.
I'm not sure that actually helps with that, but
I think you got like 5 extra donations on YouTube after. So after I came on, just letting you know that that wasn't the case before.
You're doing the unlord's work. That's we're happy to have you. Thank you so much.
Well, I think I'm converting more people by like exposing you guys for being clowns.
Judaism, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. They could be converted to anything as long as they're not like you guys. As long as they have like full-time jobs and don't become a loser like Taco or Amy. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's like 2 bums. Like the fact that anyone takes you seriously is crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's just you guys are a joke.
Again, because I don't have a job, right?
Not even that. It's just you're weird. You know what I mean? And Taco's weird too. And but that's okay. That's what you guys are. You're clowns.
True American freedom. Honestly, I'm okay with being a clown. So I think sometimes it's the comedians who are the ones that are telling the truth.
Sometimes, and you sure are. You sure are a clown. But anyways, with the whole atheist movement, I think it was kind of big, but it's died down. Nobody really takes atheists seriously. It's okay if you don't believe in God or whatever, but are you guys at least spiritual?
I'm not sure about.
I don't even know what that would mean.
Yeah, I am not spiritual.
You believe in anything? You believe in
believe
physics?
in anything.
Yeah. What do you believe in?
Yeah, honestly, atheism is
Lots
just a
of
single
stuff.
position. We
Like,
believe
like what? Besides that, trans like men can get pregnant.
I believe that you're a pretty terrible person. That's
Okay.
one belief that I hold.
Okay. So the fat guy. Okay. Thank you. How about you, trans person? What
it's
do you believe in?
What do I believe in? It depends on the
Yeah.
subject, because atheism is just a single position. I have positions on morality. I have political positions.
Okay. Wait, you said you don't have a job anymore.
No, I have 2 jobs. You don't
I have
count my jobs. So you called
Oh,
me.
right,
You
yeah.
told me that I was hallucinating my job, and that's when I asked you where my paychecks were coming from, and you gave no answer.
Oh, yeah, I'm
I
hilarious.
am both by Monday through Friday, I work with 2 other adults in a self-contained classroom helping children on the spectrum. At nights and on the weekend, I am a professor of data, visualization, science, and web design and development because I'm into it. I like those subjects. That is my actual academic background, but I like waking up every morning and actually helping people.
Yeah, that mentally challenged individual job.
I
It's
know
just you in a
you
classroom with a
insult
mirror.
them. You know, many of my
I'm
children,
not gonna
I
insult the
would
kids.
put
What the-
you up against them: math, English, science, and social studies.
I'm sure they'll do better. Never said I was the brightest tool in the
Someone
shed.
has to do the job. I'm one of many special ed teachers there, proudly.
That's good. Yeah, the teaching part is good. That's admirable. And but you're not
Is
spiritual at
Blue
all.
as smart as any or socially adept as any of your kids you teach?
Mhm.
Amy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that question one more time.
Yeah, is Blue as smart or socially adept as any of the children you teach?
Well, can I tell you the irony? And it's not just you, Blue. Is many people who make ableist slurs and things. It is an irony when they are mean and cruel in the service of attacking people who they perceive as not being able to have that big of an emotional spectrum. As in, there is a very deep irony to their insults when they themselves should be imploring the empathy and kindness that many of them feel actually very easily. They don't judge people. There is a great deep irony. That is more of a general education complaint department.
Okay. Well, again, I'm not going to insult children. Obviously, I think that's good that they're learning, and I hope they do well in their studies soon.
Well, thank you.
Well, I love kids. Yeah, of course.
You know what? We have actually come to an agreement. Let's end on a high note.
I agree. Anyways, yeah, enjoy, guys, and I hope you don't convert anybody, obviously. But I do hope you find God or you find something. I don't really care what. Just just do something different. All right, bye.
All right, take it easy, Blue. Welcome to atheism, brother. Good to have you.
Indeed, indeed. And all right, Taco. I will say that was an interesting journey.
That was an interesting one for sure.
But we had some good conversations. And I'll give one more shout out because I know we kind of do love this. I know my partner would probably eventually want me to go watch a movie, but I can't help myself. So I'm going to do another shout out there. We are the Theist Helpline. We ask theists what they believe and why. And if you are a theist that disagrees with us, it seems like this may be the last call to do so.
Yeah, we'd love to have you up here. I'm going to be going live again, too, after this. I'm just going to transfer my audience over to the new live when this finishes.
Gotcha. Oh, got one.
So I'm still going to be streaming, but if anybody would like to come up, we'd love to have you up here.
Looks like one more, and this probably will be my last, just because I probably could do some fine rebounding.
What's up, Binks?
Hey, white people. That's all I want to talk about.
I don't.
I'll pass.
Yeah, I don't. Race does not exist biologically, but I know that was just your opener. So, how are you? What do you believe and why? Oh,
Oh, he was asking if we wanted to talk about white people, and I said I'll
Oh,
pass. And then he
yeah,
left.
no, I don't want to talk about. We are the human race. Come as you are. We are brothers and sisters. Yeah.
just every time, it's such dumb shit. Like every time we have these, I get pushed further and further into solipsism.
It's all just your brain in the background or a supercomputer mind somewhere doing everything.
Exactly. 100%.
See, I get convinced
exactly what's going on.
more and more, Taco. This is not the Matrix. This is not the. If the machines are running this timeline, this universe, or whatever's going on here, oh my goodness, these are some
not doing a great job.
Yeah, they're not doing a great job.
I'm just shocked every time, like what we encounter. It's just like, oh man, how are these? Like, these people.
It is also weird that the loudest people, or the ones not even volume wise, but the strongest opinions, always seem to most certain. I don't know. There's something about skepticism that, I don't know, has a humbling quality. Come back full circle to that word, though it is not very humble to call yourself the humble people either. Nonetheless, Taco, it has actually been pretty good.
I am the most humble of all time.
That's right, the most humble.
No one is more humble than me.
And there will only be one.
Just like the Highlander.
Exactly.
I pulled that. Did you see my debate, my 1v1 debate I did the other day?
I did. Was it good?
Oh, you didn't?
Was it good?
Oh yeah, it was. I thought so. I in my intro I talked about the Highlander.
They really are. Like it is seriously with the omni monotheistic God. That is their slogan basically. There will only be one.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny opening it up talking about the Highlander. I thought that was a pretty good move. And I got voted the winner, so that tells you what. We were debating can God be, or is God necessary? And he definitely didn't prove the thing.
Yeah, God's a plot device.
Yeah, he definitely didn't prove the thing, and I guess that's where my win comes in, right?
Yes, indeed. I mean, they have the burden of proof. Oh my! Send in love, Hadrian. Are you coming up to tell us race is biological? No. Okay. But then after you, I am probably tapping out. But I have been, not only has it been lovely, I'm going to start doing it every day, or a lot more.
Hi. Good to speak to you. I love what you're doing with the atheism stuff. I wanted to argue that religion should not be considered a protected class. And I wanted to see if you agreed with me on that or not.
Well, I think it should not. I'll separate out. I think it may be protected legally against things like discrimination, but it shouldn't be this tax exempt status. Very much annoys me.
I think even with discrimination, because here's how I see it, right? Religion is a choice. It's not an immutable characteristic like race or gender or age or anything like that, right? Race is religion, it's something you choose. And then like me as a small business owner, right, as an employer, I don't want to work with people who I believe are doing things that I think are immoral. And there are definitely lots of religions out there that, you know, some are better than others, but I think, like, I don't want to support that type of person.
So
Right. So you're saying
no,
you
go
don't want to
Taco.
hire Christians?
Yeah, or Jews or Muslims. Well, I'd probably hire Christians, but I wouldn't hire Jews or Muslims.
Wow.
Especially, I mean, just because of where I live, it's kind of hard not to hire Christians. You know.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we should discriminate. I think that it, you know, I would argue that it shouldn't be a factor unless someone makes it so. As in, like, well, now they're going in the way, and, you know, if a, and I'll use, because I think all three of them are actually fairly equal, and the problems I have with all three of them are the same. But I'll actually use an example of Jews and Muslims specifically. Okay.
Okay.
If you had a client and they're like, listen, I can't eat bacon, and so I'm not gonna have any bacon in my sandwiches. If you have get-togethers, you can't make me eat the bacon sandwich or whatever. I'm just gonna eat a salad.
Okay.
I think that should be protected. If they go into your place of work and they go, and this seems silly to me, and yet I guess if this were to happen, it would be a problem. If they were to go in and they'd be like, listen, I'm sorry, but you need to respect my values. And they try to be very vague about it. And they're like, no, you can't eat bacon, and you can't eat bacon, and I will not eat bacon. We're all not going to eat bacon. Then yes, then I feel like it would almost be the opposite pressure. And now you are kind of forcing your religious views on what would otherwise be a secular situation. And so it depends on what they're doing. I can't imagine someone in a free country would do the latter. But I mean, if they're the majority religious country, I actually could imagine someone coming in and trying to do that to a secular company. And so It depends on the situation.
I gotcha. Well, I mean, I would agree with you that, like, nobody should be able to force them to eat bacon or, like, whatever they don't want to eat, right? But I also don't think that employers should be forced to hire them because of their religion either. You know, and that's the effect of a lot of these.
Can I ask you? Because we're doing a hypothetical anyway, but let's just make it a little bit closer to reality. What in a resume, like what in a job interviews questionnaire is going to be, what religion are you? And I think,
well, I feel like I should be able to ask that question at the interview, right? Because for me, you know, I want to make sure. You know, I'm not a big business owner. I'm a small business owner. The people I hire, I want to make sure that they're good people who, you know, because I want to give them opportunities, right? It's not just for the money. And I feel like if you help the wrong people, like if you help people who are going to work against your interests, then that's wrong in the long run.
But you said a good person. Can I give you an example? I work with a lot of the teachers and aides that I have are, you know, religious as people. Either you could tell by how they dress or the t-shirts that they wear. You know, I have some that just say Jesus is my best friend, but then there's other cultures, you know, they're wearing a hijab or something. And let me tell you, I rely on every single one of them. There's not a single one that comes to my head which I wouldn't want being a teacher or an aide. And so when you say good, I agree with you. I think you should want to hire good people who, dare I say, have a high moral code. I think it only becomes problematic. I think you do yourself. In fact, I really just want to appeal to more of an ethical appeal, which is to say, I think you do yourself a disservice if you were to add that question to the interview instead of secularizing it, instead of having a question on your interview that says, what makes you a good person?
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, but people lie on their applications all the time.
But couldn't they lie about their religion?
They could, but if you could usually find out later on,
Sure, but I feel the same way. If someone tells you in an interview that they're a good person or they have qualifications that they don't, etc., I think you find that out eventually. And unfortunately, I just think that's the human process.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I still don't see why that's a reason to keep religion as a protected class. I mean, because in my view, there's religion, especially the Abrahamic ones, are quite evil.
So
and I just want to support that, and
So I agree with you. Unfortunately, I think religion makes a lot of people, even if they aren't underlying evil, act out in ways that are evil. What I will say, and it's the hardest part of the word is free speech. I just like to say speech. The hardest part in protecting speech is protecting those that we disagree with. There's a reason that the ACLU will actually defend racists sometimes and people that they horribly, you would think, disagree with. And yet it's because when you protect the speech that you disagree with the most, you are actually inadvertently protecting all speech.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I agree with you there too. I'm for free speech. I'm just not for anti.
I mean, let me tell you something. I think people. If you have, you'll not find anyone who agrees with you more about disliking. Well, I'm sure there are, but you know what I mean. The Abrahamic religions as Taco and myself.
I know, and I appreciate that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So.
Well, thank you for coming up, Adrian. I know Taco's about to go back to streaming, but for me, I think we're about to wrap up.
All right, take care. Thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming up.
And Taco, this was good. I know that we are going to do this next month. It is truly my goal to do more streams on my channel, and dare I say, I would love to do more streams on your channel. I need to do more streaming because it is driving me kind of crazy. Just from the political climate itself, unfortunately, for better or worse, it's worse. Is driving me a little cuckoo, and so even though politics is going to make me do more atheist content, I need to get out there. Sending love, Taco, especially to everyone in Taco's chat as well, and everyone in this chat.
Yeah, and everybody should subscribe to Amy Newman if you're not subscribed yet. Amy Newman is awesome. She runs a lot of conversations on her channel, and in this, obviously. Everybody in the audience, thank you so much for joining us today. I've got mine set up to rate everybody in the channel in the video or on the YouTube to the other YouTube videos. So it should push you right over, and then I'll get started pretty much right away. So I hope y'all are all excited because I got a long day of streaming ahead of me, and I hope you guys all have fun. Thank you for being here today. Amy, do appreciate you joining us as always. Do you have any last words?
You can find me as well, youtube.com/Amy Newman. But I really just want to send love back over to Taco. Please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on his stream, and go follow the next stream. And thank you again for hosting this for us.
Hey, it's always fun. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. All right, now I got to rush on stream.
That's okay, great. Taco. It has been lovely. I love doing the stream with you. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing many, many more.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, have a good weekend. Take it easy.
Bye. Okay. I am sending love to y'all. I am getting new graphics made. I think we're going to have a midday ranting. I think I am just going to come on here and have more Discord discussions like this, do more with James W. I just love you all. I feel like now I need to be on here more important. It's not just me. I mean, like the whole skeptic and ranting community. And there have been important events within the past just few months that make me realize how more important community is now more important to ever. And I feel like if we do not offer alternatives, then it is truly going to be the religious that are going to hold their banner up. And I don't want us to unwind the Enlightenment era progress that we've been slowly grinding towards the past 200 years. Anyway, sending so much love. It was a fun Theist Helpline. I'll try and get some titles up. I have to do that in the last one. That's how much. Procrastination. It's a hell of a drug. I truly do love you all. I see some people in chat. Music by Brian, davegar, Spooky, Victoria, Reverb, every Joshua. You were saying some good things, Joshua, and I just couldn't agree with you. You all were saying good things. Sending love, Regis. Sending love. All right, I think we are tapping out. Is anyone live? Taco's going live. I know on Sundays the Line and the Atheist Experience and everything, they have their respective shows. I should say the ACA, since Talk Heathen is live right now. Let's send you over to Talk Heathen as well. If you like, go to Talk Heathen. You should also go to Taco's channel. All right. We have been the Theist Helpline, asking the question, what do you believe and why? Trying to help theists figure out their position. I hope you had a fun time. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and then hit that bell icon to all so you can see our premieres and join our live streams. I do want to thank Taco for hosting us, my co-host James W., all of our Patreon's channel members, and of course, the people in chat and viewers like you. Mwah. With that, everyone, I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Mwah, mwah.